Hey everyone, welcome back to the IwEP network, or if it's your first time,
Thank you for hanging out with us.
thank you so much for choosing this podcast, and feedback is always welcome. So make sure to check the links below for all social media links, audio and video versions of this show, and merch. We look forward to hearing from you and hearing that feedback, and enjoy the show.
Dreams that fall down from the clouds inside my sleep. Sometimes if they are fake, they still dig deep. And when I follow them to the back of my mind, I find that I've gone too far this time. Too far this time.
Here we are, ladies and gentlemen, episode number 100. We did it. 3 years in the making. I will say this is not a knock to Brian here, but I did not find out or plan who number 100 is. I just booked as normal, and then it kind of just worked out that way. So I'm very happy that you're number 100. I think it was a great. The universe just kind of put this in, and I think it was a good move.
Am I on?
Yep, you're on.
I'm on. Yay. First of all, stola, you know what that means?
No.
Stola is Polish when you sing a birthday. Okay, it's happy birthday to you, and then it's happy birthday to you, and then they sing stola, which means another happy 100 years.
Oh boy, if
So
I'm doing
somewhere
this
there's
100 years,
yeah, there's somewhere in there is a number 100. So stola to Mr. Anthony Blackwell Jr., number 100. Bravo, sir.
Thank you so much. Hold on, we're trying to. There you go. Maybe that'll do it. You get a little bit of weird echo going on there. Talk again.
For me?
Oh, you're good now. You're good. All right.
Oh, okay.
So let's pay the bills here, as they say. Huge thank you to our sponsor. Right above his shoulder there is Abaddon Tattoo Studio. There it is. You're looking at it. Unique professional experience nestled in the small town of Pine Grove, Pennsylvania. They provide high quality tattoos and piercings in a relaxed, professional, and sterile environment. Check the links below. All their stuff is there. The live chat is open. If you're watching, help us out. Give us a share. Let people know we exist. The best way this grows is word of mouth, because I'm not paying Facebook and Google to promote. That's just how it goes for me. Yeah, so we're here with Brian. Brian has been on Not Cool in High School in its very early days. I think it was still called Things That Were Not Cool in High School before the name change. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm going retro.
You have been on Things Not Cool in High School, which is not many people could say they've been on that show. You were on Interviews with Toolshed Jack. And
that was with Steve.
Yep. And now this is your solo interview.
I'm finally to the point in my status where I'm worthy enough to be a solo act with Mr. Anthony Blackwell Jr.
Yeah, I mean, it's not Newswatch 16. I mean, you've been doing some crazy stuff lately. You know, you're making music in your garage.
That you're talking about that stuff. I didn't know you'd go there.
Yeah. Jen obviously is in the chat. Jen does everything for us, but I'm drinking one of your beers, Jen. So Bangin' Beers went to a bi-weekly show, so I have a fridge full of beers I need to get rid of. So I'm gonna be enjoying your Jamba while this goes. So far, Jamba, this beer is, just if you want to know, because you're the Boilo, the beer guy, are meeting. This is the Jamba series. It's strawberry banana and a word I don't know what it is, but it's delicious. And 4 scores out of Gettysburg. It's a really good brewery. So if you're up in Gettysburg doing some history, go get put a couple beers in you. You'll have a good time.
Am I forever going to be known as the Boilo guy?
It's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing at all.
The thing is, before I made that polka, I had only ever made one batch in my life before that.
That's awesome.
And mine's not even like the standard. Like if I told you what the recipe was, it's like, oh, that's like the Diet Coke version of it. So I don't even make like the traditional typical one. So I'd be laughed off stage.
Yeah. I had one really, I mean, I probably had more. I'm just being, I guess I don't look into it as much, but there's been times where I've been in like a bar and someone walks up and they're giving away like free swag and they're like, You're the beer guy. And I was like, I do a podcast, and I got a free like Yingling Christmas sweater. I'll take it.
Own it. Honestly, it's you never know what you're gonna be. You never know what you're gonna be known for in this world. You just got to smile and own it. Like, I'm the beer guy. Just go with it.
If people are gonna pour boil it on your throat, it's not a terrible thing, you know.
I want to be. My dream is to be a guest celebrity at a local fire hall's boilo contest to
Nice.
just walk in and just give my little Queen Elizabeth wave, and they give me like a free meal, and I can sit there and just shoot the crap with just watch the contest. That's my dream.
Yeah, that's a great dream. You know what? If you do it, recommend me for the other judge, because you know I enjoy drinking some booze.
I don't want to be judge.
Oh, you don't wanna be judge?
No, you know why?
You don't want to get beat up.
Here's what, every time you, and I do this with Toolshed Jack too, like when they'll say, oh, like at Halloween, like, oh, hey, the people that own the bar, they'll say, hey, you guys, we got 6 categories. We got, like best dressed, most scary, most funny, most original, like Halloween costume. I'm like, no, I don't want to do it. And like, why not? I go, because when you judge, like, let's say there's 4 categories. Guess how many people like you at the end of it? 4.
Yeah.
Like you're never a liked person when you, like, the person you pick loves you.
Yeah.
But all the other 500 people hate you. So like,
I'd purposely pick the worst costumes, because I have a sense of, that would be my sense of humor. Like,
they'd walk up to you and go,
yeah.
But they would go, what are you thinking? What do you mean most original? This guy is dressed as an alligator in an igloo. Come on, or whatever it is.
I would pick a guy who wasn't even dressed up and be like, this guy's a genius. He dressed up like he went to Walmart.
Yeah. What's your outfit? Confused stranger. You win.
Yep. And then some girl who did 18 hours of makeup and wore 2 sheets of plastic over her her body. She's like, I work so hard.
So I just want to go in. I'll show her. Hey, there's Boilo guy. Give me a piece of pizza and I'll be happy.
Yeah. So I kind of know the answer to this, because we had a little private chat going when you first started your little your garage band. Your things from your garage, and you were asking some stuff like, how do I do this? Like, we've been shooting it for a while when you first started it, but
it hasn't got much better.
Yeah, no, it's really good. You're hitting strides. Like you're figuring things out. It's fun. It's fun to watch.
But yeah, thank you. But the problem with that, well, 2 things. The only reason it existed was because of the pandemic, and if Toolshed Jack's not playing, then if they are playing, that's what I'd rather do. So the guys in Toolshed Jack will tell you how horrible, absolutely terrible I am with technology. Not that I don't know where to plug it in, but like if I say, okay, how do I lower the gain on something? They'll just laugh at me like, you don't know how to lower the gain? Like, well, no, that's not common sense.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like if you listen to my recordings, they're not professional at all, because I really don't know what I'm doing, and my equipment is terrible. So I mean, what you have there for you, well, but you have. I mean, I'm insanely jealous of what you have. You have like just that microphone right there makes me like, I need one of those.
Yeah. Here's a fun thing. Now that we're at episode 100, I'll kind of throw this in. When I first started doing these interviews, I didn't know anything about equipment. I'm still learning. Yeah. I'm not an audio guy, but the first couple episodes, if you go back and listen to back catalogs, we had a cardio mic. So cardio mics they take up as much. They suck in as much sound as possible. Where this is a dynamic mic, where if I'm not in front of it and I go over here, you can't hear me anymore.
Yeah.
So,
right.
So we used to take a cardio mic where if I turn it this way, you'd still hear me, because that's the way the mic pattern is. So I would take one mic and I'd put it in the center of the table and I would just crank the gain, and it sounded awful. And that's how I record like the first almost half a year of the podcast. And it was just all learning. But I think what really stands out with content like ours is the passion for it, and just having fun, and sitting down with people, and not really sitting down, but like you're finding an outlet to create and have fun.
Right, and that was part of what I wanted to do with this. The backstory of the quarantine song. What is it? Brian Todd's quarantine songs in his garage, which so much for a short name.
It's so weird, Al, and it fits you perfectly.
Thank you. I bow. It's me, and where that came from. Well, first of all, the pandemic hit, and as you know, everybody just froze. It was like nobody's doing anything, and people in music, we want to entertain. I say that all the time, but it's totally the truth. And as I was watching, it was like March 13th is like the unofficial start of the pandemic of 2020. And I'm watching, I'm always watching Facebook, and people are like, oh, this is blah, 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 blah. And then all of a sudden, like a week later, there are people that are ready to they can't stop entertaining. So they're going on Facebook and they got their guitar and they figured out all the technical equipment and they're entertaining. And people are like, this is great. You know, we don't get to go out, but at least we can see and hear our favorite people. And I'm watching, you know, people with like a guitar, singers and whatever. Like, I want to do that too. I want to entertain. And I'm like, and so I tried it once on just like almost like a I don't know, it's like almost like a FaceTime. I just went Facebook Live and I stunk. I was terrible at it. And I'm like, hi everybody, this is what I play on my keyboard when I'm in Toolshed Jack. And I'm playing like, okay, that's interesting. And it just kind of, it was nice. And I had a few people look at it, but then it was like, all right, you can't, your singing's average. You can't play and sing. So what could you do? That was the big thing that really was a defining moment. It's like, all right, don't be them.
Yeah.
And that's one thing about you and your podcast. Like, don't necessarily, like, you be you. And if people like you, great. You know, you don't get to 100 interviews, sir, without having some haters and having some people going, blah, blah. I would give you the big suggestion. Keep going with what you're doing. If you build it, they will come. And I was lucky enough that I had enough of people another thing too, and like people knew me. Like they know I'm not a rock god by any means. So by the fact that they knew I'm this stick, I'm like this sore thumb, this, you know, this person really doesn't belong there. And I'm like, all right. The great thing was though, it was different. Nobody was doing anything I was doing. It wasn't. I wasn't doing what they were doing, but nobody was doing what I was doing. And that's where I went. That's where I went with the whole thing. That was the whole focus.
Yeah. And it probably without even realizing you're doing it, it probably sharpened your skills when it comes to music and exploring new things and figuring out how to video edit. Like, you probably learned a craft that you didn't know you had because of this pandemic. So
right. Yeah, it was there are, I guess as of this point, there are 22 videos. And I even hate to say that, like, oh, that sounds like a high number. The first 10 were crap. They were me with a little tablet trying to do some and the vocals were nice. I mean, I was doing harmonies and things like that, which I love to do. So that wasn't a stretch for me. And it was different. So I decided to do it. But then like we talked about before, I wanted to learn a little something new every time that I could add to the next video. And a little more so, like I try to tell my own children, I said, every time you fail, when you make a mistake, you've gained a morsel of knowledge and wisdom that you didn't have before. So there really are no bad mistakes in this life.
Absolutely. Yeah. Every time I hit the record button, I figure something new out, you know, and there's still times where I'm putting episodes out and I still have a glitch or an audio issue or something. And it's like, oh, got to rebound and figure it out later, you know?
And it makes you better.
Yeah. And I'll tell you what, another thing too is never delete those 22 videos. Because I know a lot of people who create and they'll get to a point where they think their quality is really good and they'll go and delete the past because they don't want it to reflect badly on their quality now. And I almost did that. I almost did a clean reboot and started over at 1 and got rid of all the back catalog when I got all the new equipment. But I thought to myself, like, no, because if you go back and listen to my first interview and listen to the quality and the camera work, and I didn't know how to do lighting, and I'm still learning. I'm not saying I'm great, but like you see a progression, and I kind of want that to be a thing.
But don't you cringe though? Like I cringe when I see like, oh my God, like, and I think about now it's campy, you know what I mean? Like it's nostalgia. So that's fun, but it's hard because those early ones, I'm like, hey, look at, and now that what I'm doing now, which again is not, please don't get the impression that I think I'm some sort of like world changing thing, you know, like I said, if I were to continue that path, I'd have way farther to go. But if you compare number 22 to like number 2, there is a night and day. There's a huge difference.
Yeah, yeah. And I there's a lot of interviews I wish I can get back. And there's a lot of things once this pandemic's over, I want to reach back out and have back on the show. Because there's times where I had amazing conversation, but the quality was just not there. And it's crazy because some of those videos were the highest viewed. And then the newer stuff, like I think possibly what happened too is a lot of people left because like, yo, this quality is terrible, and they dipped. And then I get better, and I'm like, yo, give me another chance. I think I'm doing better here.
But you got you in your podcast world, you've got ups and downs. I mean, I think peaks and valleys. That's got to be like par for the course. You ask anybody of any success, they'll probably tell you all the horror stories.
It's tough because I think so. People are used to the late night TV show interviews or the radio interviews where somebody comes in and they're like, "Hey, we got Brian here on this radio thing," and you get 3 minutes to say something, and you're like, "I feel like I accomplished nothing. Like I feel like we never got to know somebody." And then growing up listening to Stern or you listen to a podcast and you're like, you get an hour with somebody. It's like you really get to dive into that person and really get to see who they are, and that because in an hour span, someone's going to let their guard down and they're going to say something that they're not, because everyone's trying to perceive themselves or trying to put themselves out to be something they're not. Everyone tries to do it. They're like, what, I'm going to be the person I think everybody wants me to be. But you talk for an hour and a half. I'm not saying like you're tricking people, but you're who you truly are is going to show at the end of it. And I think that's the beauty of a podcast. And I think some people see hour 45-minute episodes like, I'm not taking time out of my day for that. But then you listen to you have a podcast lover who are like, if it's not an hour and a half, I'm not listening to it. If it's a 25-minute episode, I'm out. Like that's because people really enjoy that content.
But they could fast forward. You actually have like and I give you, this is a compliment what I'm about to say. It's a very much like a Joe Rogan kind of feel to it, where it's like I've listened to a few of his as well, and like he'll just talk and he will guide the conversation, and really it's a good podcaster like yourself. You're good, just so you know. You set up like the softballs, like big pitches and I'm there with my big fat Albert wiffle ball bat ready to just knock them out of the park. And you're doing your job. You're getting the guests like me to open up for things that we wouldn't even think of. Like I ask a question and like, all right, you give a comfort feeling, which is exactly what you expect out of a good podcast like yours.
Yeah, and a little behind the scenes, if you've never been on one of my shows or been behind the scenes of it, we don't prep this at all. This is 100% just hit record and start talking. And that's I had a lot of people tell me too, like the way you set up your questions is really like it's good. And I'm like, this is just a natural conversation. I'm just talking. I have nothing. There's nothing written down here. I have no, you know what I mean? Like
no teleprompter.
Yeah, this is as natural as a conversation you're going to get between two people, and that's what I like about it too. Where maybe it's not as professional. You can go to another show and they're completely scripted and have everything worked out, but that's just not my style.
Don't worry about it.
This is a Schuylkill County podcast. We go by the tail of our seats here and just figure it out as we go. Yeah.
So my goal is to give you the easiest interview ever. So what do you got for me?
So, I want to kudos to you because someone who has been doing it for 3 years. I think my most video count, is like 500. You hit 11K on YouTube.
Oh, well, you want to know the real numbers?
Sure.
Are you ready? No. One thing, the one thing you have to be careful though, and then again, I have a 13-year-old and a 15-year-old who both do TikTok.
Yeah.
Right. So you got to understand one thing.
I've been breaking into it.
Just so you know, you have to calibrate the numbers differently. And here's what I mean. My son will do he's working right now, like which WandaVision theme song do you like the best? Like, WandaVision with Marvel, right? So he's got a poll. That itself will get like 45,000 views tonight.
Yeah.
So when you do a TikTok, like somebody who trips over like their dog walking in the living room will get like 7 million views, and like all they did was trip over a dog. So I have to in my mind I have to calibrate Facebook numbers versus TikTok numbers. They're
TikTok right now is the easiest platform to hit 1 million followers on. That's statistically
easy.
YouTube is not easy. YouTube is not easy to grow on because it's so saturated. Facebook's not easy because they limit how many people you can invite to your page.
So my final numbers are this. I could say that now that it's been a month and a half almost 2 months since what has been now shortened to the Boilo Polka, it hit. I'm going to say I can make a good claim mathematically, 75,000 total views if you mix both YouTube and Facebook. The reason that is because I released that song on December 29th on two platforms with 4 areas. So I have a Facebook group page where I introduced it first at 5 o'clock. I have this all it was such a crazy 5 days. And I'm not kidding. It was, I mean, for me, I'm this guy who's just sitting around making songs in my garage, literally, right? So the first one was released at 5 p.m., the group page. And what I normally do is like, all right, because you could schedule those. Like you could say, all right, you could go take a nap and when you wake up at 5 o'clock, it will release. So, all right, I had that set up. And then what I normally do is like, all right, I told everybody on Facebook, okay, I got an original song coming out. I will just so you know. And it was funny because I even begged people like, when this song comes out, could you please share it? I want to get maybe like 200 views. And people are like, yeah, Brian, we'll let you share it. You know, yeah, we'll do it for it. People on Facebook are great. So I released it at 5:00, and then I'm like, all right, I'll go eat dinner or something like that. And then at like 6:30, because what I have to do is when I release it on my Brian Todd personal page, I tag everybody, and that takes forever. Like if I'm doing like Anthony Blackwell Jr., ANT, and then you pop up, and then I got to hit your name, and then I got to go to I have on my phone, I have a place where I store all the names. Like there's no like list server thing.
I almost start doing that, and I bailed quickly. Like I'm not.
It's a pain in the you know what. So there I am at like 6. Like it's like I wake up at like 5:45. I took a little nap. All of a sudden, like it's already been viewed like that 200 times, and it's been shared over 50 times. Like now, to tell you
awesome.
And here's the thing. Like normally, I think my record up to that point on the group page for shares was like 17.
Yeah.
And it had already been shared over almost 50 times in an hour and a half.
Yeah.
So
people don't realize. So when you're on social media, and this is for people watching now or listening later, if you're just watching because you're a fan of Brian, or you're like, and I think a lot of people don't understand the what goes into this. So someone who, even what we're doing now, there's time in this, there's money put into this. We're trying to figure it out. These corporations like Facebook and Twitter and YouTube will pay you for your time if your time has the value are shown. So you have to hit certain requirements. So Facebook, your group or your page has to be over 1,000 likes. So when someone invites you to a page and you look at it and go, I'm annoyed because they keep inviting me, literally just to hit the button costs you nothing, but it can make that person money. Like we're paying people and huge corporations money for nothing, and you could be helping out your neighbor who's just trying to make fun content. YouTube, as long as you get so many, like right now, you probably have the hours watched and the likes are like views per thing, but you don't have the subscribers yet because you need 1,000 subscribers. You have to hit all these increments of, and it literally costs somebody nothing to go and hit subscribe. That doesn't cost you anything. Hit share on your thing. So when you hit share, you're sharing it to your friends list. So you have 2,000 friends. You just help that guy because normally what we have to do as content creators is we have to come out of our pocket and pay Facebook to then share it to people. And then when it's shared that way, it doesn't seem as authentic, and it doesn't seem like, oh, you know, Stacy really likes Brian's video and I like Stacy, so let me see what Stacy likes. So just literally hitting a share button and hitting like or subscribe or just taking a day out to go follow them, you can help a up and coming guy make a couple bucks on his content he created. You hit 11,000 plays. That if you would have hit all the other increments, you probably could have got a couple bucks for your video.
Let me tell you, I wish that were true. You know how much money I've made off that video?
Probably nothing because you didn't hit the requirement.
Nothing. And here's first of all, this is a deep dive here. I don't know how boring this might be. Stop me if I'm boring, by the way.
No, go ahead.
No. You got if you said Brian, we're moving on. I totally get it because if I start going on a roll, that's stupid stuff.
But I don't think a lot of people know this stuff. You know what I mean? Like they just see like, I see a video online, and I'm just gonna. There's more to it. You can help the common man.
Well, let me tell you the mistake I made that won't allow me to make any money on the YouTube video. In the beginning of the video, I used a song that was basically Muzak. If it sounded like elevator music, right?
Yeah.
I just basically found it and used it thinking it would be no big deal. It got flagged by this music distribution company for its unfair use. So it was a copyright violation, not my song. It was the Boilo video has 4 actors in it. So I got flagged. So I'm not now, unless I redo the video and lose all the views, which you can't, like once you take down a video, you can't get your views back. So I can now never on YouTube make a dime from that video.
Yeah. So what you do now is you make a Teespring and you put your little Boilo thing on your T-shirt, and then someone buys a T-shirt.
Merch.
Yeah, merch. We have merch. We have merch. If you want to Everyday People T-shirt, go grab it. You can get my stupid face. So look at there it is. There you can get my
face. Go get it.
Dumb face on a T-shirt.
Okay. So anyway, back to the story. So before it even the Boiler Polka, this is December 29th. And it's like I normally, remember I told you I go ahead and I tag everybody to release it on the Brian Todd page. And now let me tell you this too. I didn't write the song to make it some sort of public thing. It was a song to keep me sane, so the people that look at the group page can go, ha ha, I like it.
Mm-hmm.
That's all. That's the one thing you have to understand about this is that song, and more backtrack, I have never written an original song before. 21 years in Toolshed Jack, and I have played everybody else's music. You name it. I have played their songs. And when you're in a cover band, and you've talked to a bunch of cover bands too, right? Mm-hmm. You always talk about writing your own song. Oh, we ought to write our own song. We ought to do, yeah, that'd be awesome. And you talk about it forever. And guess what? You never do it. You never do it. Like you see, you can sit around and jam. Like, okay, let's do a blues 1-4-5, or let's jam over it. Anybody could do. No, I wouldn't say anybody could do that, but that's not really. That's writing your own riff or your own lick to it. But that's not really writing a whole song. You're just basically taking the same 3 chords over and over, and you're kind of doing your thing. So I said, all right, I'm going to write a song, and I never intended it to. And again, like I said, I'm not saying this is a worldwide sensation of a song, but I never thought it would get past that little bubble. And the only reason I ever put it on YouTube was in case anybody wanted to see it that never saw it, that they don't have Facebook anymore. That was it. Mm-hmm. Like I didn't expect that to put it on YouTube. Now I know how to do YouTube. It's not that hard, but it's like I only put it there like, okay, just in case you have an uncle somewhere and they think it would be cute. I never thought that YouTube or that would be the vehicle to make people, like I got comments from people out in California. I got comments from people up in Maine and Arkansas. Yeah, I grew up in the Schuylkill County, and so you got to understand the beginning of all this just blew my mind, and it was something else. I mean, so I'm at it's like at 7:00, and I realized that the song from the group page, it was already out there. Like it got out of my hands. Normally I could say, okay, 7:00, let's release the song, and here it is, everybody. Like as if people are like, wait. By the time 7 happened, I think probably 500 people already knew about it.
Yeah. Well, I think that what really makes it good is it was super relatable. When you watch that video, you had the outsider guy with the glasses who's like, this is awesome. And every single person who sat in a kitchen in Schuylkill County during a boil night or just drinking in your buddy's kitchen can relate to at least, they can literally look at every single one of those people and be like, I know that guy. You know what I mean? Like everyone has a Schmitty. You know what I mean? Everyone has.
So you're looking to get in my mind about the video. Okay, thanks for asking.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you this, and I saved this for the Anthony Blackwell Jr. interviews for everybody. You ready for a good nugget of information? Sure. I stopped the project twice for a total of about 5 hours. Do you want to know why?
You had to find out who you wanted to be in your video without being in the video?
I thought I was going to get the living stuffing beaten out of me for doing this song.
Really?
I remember I was driving my daughter to dance class. I'm sitting in a parking lot, and I kept telling myself, and I'm the only one in the car, I said, I can't do the song. I can't do the song. I'm going to get the bleep beaten out of me. Because what the song is, like I decided I was going to make the most skook song in history. Like if you, and I am born in Pottsville. I was raised in New Boston, right outside of Monty City. So I am totally born and raised. But the thing is, I have such a love for the county, but you know this too, because you're still living there. I still work there. That there are so many comedy possibilities there. Mm-hmm. And if people can't take a joke,
they'll get upset. But I think for the most part, people are very proud of where they come from, but they know we know who we are as well.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I wouldn't say panic attacks, Tony, but I'm like, if I put the song out there, I'm gonna get in trouble. Because there's going to be somebody out there going, you're picking on us. You're doing this. You're doing that. the exact 180 happened.
Mhm.
I
Go.
couldn't believe it. Yeah, and I'm like, and I talked to somebody who I work with. I said, her name's Heather, and I go, Heather, let me ask you a question. Why was I allowed to get away with? I mean, you've seen the video. If you've been like me, you've seen it like 100 times. The way that I do the speech patterns are totally a rip off of the Northern Skook.
Yeah, absolutely.
The references in there. I mean, I had to explain to a couple people about the hidden F-bomb that's implied. Yeah. They didn't know. The guy who played clarinet for me in the credits, his name is Rob Yingling. He's a guy who I knew from Penn State, and he lives in North Carolina. He played in the song, and I had to tell him, Rob, you know why that's kind of dirty? And I had to explain to him, 462 to blank. And he did. I'm like, oh, okay, that's why you didn't say anything there. Like, well, Rob, I used the word truck as a rhyme.
Yeah.
So but back to Heather, I said, Heather, why was I allowed to get away with that joke? And she told me the best answer. She said, Brian, you're from here.
Mm-hmm.
And that resonated with me more than anything else. It's like only a person from the Skook could do that type of song in that style, because I'm one of you.
Yeah, and you're still proud of your area,
Yeah.
It's not like I'm making fun of this area. Everyone here sucks, and I'm going to do everything to it's more like I'm proud of where I am, and this is who we are.
Yeah, and the song itself. I love the fact that you mentioned the 4 actors in the beginning. There's only one reason why the one guy is named Smitty, and it's for a rhyme.
Mm-hmm. But everyone has that Smitty.
Everybody has a Smitty. Right. I will tell you that the influences. I will tell you that the character of Smitty is slightly influenced upon a member of Toolshed Jack.
Smitty was awesome in high school sports. He was the legend of the Bush Party.
There's a guy that if he were to, I'm not going to say he wasn't, but there's a member of Toolshed Jack that is sort of based. His name's not Smitty, but that's who kind of Smitty is. He's the what's up kind of guy.
Yeah.
The main character is more or less based off my cousin Steve, who is the son of Happy Stefan, Steve Babinchak. That's why Steve and I grew up real close. We're first cousins. And so that's who that's built off of. The main character is kind of me, but the guy with the glasses, the nerdy guy, he's there for one reason, and that's because I knew that somebody was going to say, well, Boilo is really from here, and this is technically how you, and everybody has that person, the person who goes, well, actually, everybody knows that annoying person.
I'm the pop culture guy, so I know all the stupid ins and outs of stupid things. Yeah,
that's you,
me.
man.
That's me. I'm that guy.
And the line and he only has one line in the whole song in the video, and I took that right from Wikipedia. Well, technically, Boilo is a variation of a Lithuanian liqueur. Like I stole it right from Wikipedia, so that was fun.
Jen's in the chat. I am seeing the chat. If you guys are typing, you guys can chat. We can pop them in there. Is Jen correct in her assessment?
What?
Do you see it on the screen?
She's more correct than she's wrong. That person in essence too. He used to wear a white hat back in the day, and it was down and low and to the curve. So yeah, they're not. It's not 100%, but it's not. It's not a minority percent. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, it's fun. Here's a quick. We'll do
whatever you want.
Fun little thing here.
Yeah,
you're gonna make your Mount Rushmore of Schuylkill County. So
of who?
Of just Schuylkill County things, right? So you have your Yingling, your Miller's Hot Bologna, your Mrs. T's pierogies, your Kebelonics Koba. Like what is making your top 4? Like
Yingling.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely Yingling.
Quick sidebar to that one. What's your favorite Yingling product?
I if you would ask me 2 years ago, it would just be lager, but I love the new Hershey thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm a Chetty boy.
Yeah. I like that.
I love the Lord,
I was at the tasting thing down at the, and that's where I got to meet. I actually got to meet Dick Yingling for the first time. I never met him before.
I want him on Bangin' Beer so bad. I want to drink beers with one of the members of the Yingling family. That's like my podcast goal right there.
Ask them.
I haven't gotten
it. They turned it out. Yeah. So
Yingling, they turned me down. They just didn't say anything.
We'll see what we can do. All right. So Yingling's number one. I would say you have to put Mrs. T's up there.
I could probably do an episode with one of the Tords because I grew up with like their kids.
Oh yeah,
I know them pretty well. Yeah, Mrs. T's. My dad used to work at Mrs. T's. He was like a lifer for a while.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Well, wait. So are you saying food or like Schuylkill County, Mount Rushmore?
Just Schuylkill County.
Like, coal.
Yeah. I'm sure.
Coal. Yeah, it's coal. And
at one point no one really cares about it so much now, which is a shame.
But you don't have Schuylkill County without coal. Let's put it that way.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And the last thing about Schuylkill County, Yingling, Mrs. T's, coal, and I would say the Interviews with Everyday People podcast. That would definitely be number one.
I hope I would be honored to be even thought of in that honor. I don't even think I think like 3% of school. I think 3% even. I think 0.0 of Schuylkill County knows what I exist, but we're getting there.
Keep doing what you're doing, man. I'm telling you, if you build it, they will come.
Yeah, I applied. I probably shouldn't do this. It's like a little bit of a shoot, but I applied for T102 a while back, to work for them, and got denied immediately. But then like I kind of went head to head over a weekend of like a Toys for Tots benefit, and they used McDonald's and got nothing, and I used 3 bars of Schuylkill County and raised a really good chunk of change and a bunch of toys for kids. And I was like, T102, like I have pride in T102. Like I remember back in the day when any local business you went into had T102 playing, people cared about T102,
Mm-hmm.
people enjoyed T102. And to me, like being a part of the music scene and going to see bands and going to events and block parties, like you don't see any representative of any news sources at these events, like being proud of where they're from. And I think that's a huge missed opportunity. Like I'm not saying this like saying I dislike T102, but like I had to make a huge rally and get a whole bunch of people to spam their page for them to play Crowbot. Like Crowbot's from their town, and they've had 4 world tours, and they're not even in their rotation. Like I understand you have a format of music, but like take pride in where you are. You know what I mean?
And you would think the Crowbot would make the rotation. I mean, Crowbot's doing huge. You know that.
Yeah, and they're not even aware. Like it's like they live in Schuylkill County, but they have their head in the sand. It seems like I could be wrong, but that's just what it seems like.
I don't know. I mean, T102. I mean,
I can tell you what's happening in every high school sport game, though. But they couldn't tell you 6 local bands.
I think they would jump all, like, let's say Crowbot got to the status of like, I don't know. Think of any like of their style. Like if they like all the places that they're playing, if they were like headliners, I think T102 would be all over it. It's just I don't think in their mind it seems to me that Crowbot is not at the level yet. And again, this is not me, it's them. Where they would be a household name even in Schuylkill County. Like they don't believe.
But you can make them a household name in Schuylkill County by telling people you have a band from your backyard doing well, and we're proud of it. We're going to showcase that. And I think more people in this area, because there's people in this area who don't even realize they have a band who's doing world tours. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh yeah. No, and thanks to you. I mean, you're doing a great job of promoting the local town. So from everybody, and again, I'm just in a cover band, but thank you to you for getting the word out, just for live music in general.
I just try to find gems in our area that people don't like, people may not know about. Like we have so much, like I said pre-pandemic, a lot of people say there's nothing to do in Schuylkill County. If you couldn't find something to do on a weekend, that's your fault, because there's a lot of cool stuff. Dude, we have a roller derby team that people probably aren't a full 100% aware of. We have we have like live music everywhere. We have theaters.
Mm-hmm.
We have plays and productions going on. We have a lot of really cool things, like, but people aren't even aware of it.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm hoping that, again, this is a terrible cause and effect, but the pandemic and the quarantines, like I'm hoping that once everybody is, the vaccines are out and it seems like people are like going to crawl out of their little holes again and go outside, I hope that live entertainment like gets a boost because of it, because people maybe weren't aware of how good they had it.
Yeah.
And they were forced to be inside. So, I mean, I'm obviously from Toolshed Jack's perspective, I'm hoping people will like, oh my goodness, we so miss you guys. But for everybody, not just us. I'm not speaking for just my band. I'm hoping in general.
I'm at the point where I'm ready to lick a toilet seat. If I don't get COVID and if it doesn't kill me, I just want it to be over. Like, just get sick,
Right.
or like. And then I'm not saying this for everybody. I just want to be like either get sick or get like or die. Like, I just want to be back to normal, you know what I mean? And I'm not saying that like I'm not making light of people passing away, but it's just I so want to go back to like seeing my friends and giving someone a hug and just.
I wanted to come to your studio. I haven't seen it since it was the old kitchen.
Yeah, we have curtains up now. Like, look at this. Look at this. We built. Well, we're not in the kitchen anymore. I'm joking. No, we're totally in the kitchen, but we made it look like we're not in the kitchen.
Right. When I was there, the microwave was in the background.
Yeah,
and
microwave's still there. Just we're hiding it now.
how are Sarah and Ben and Andy doing? Are they doing all right?
So Sarah started her own podcast.
Okay.
She does a movie review podcast. I was actually supposed to record with her tonight, but she unfortunately had to work. It's called A Feature Like This, so you can check out her. She has someone, so she's doing her own thing. Ben. He kind of branched out. He's working on his own stuff. He's kind of settling some stuff up with his new house, but he's doing some things. Andy, me and Andy do the Not Cool in High School. We do Tornado Tag still, and then we started that new one, Truth Behind Illusion. So Andy's still part of the network. And
you picked up a few.
Yeah, Not Cool in High School. Now we have Nikolai, who used to do interviews with me in the beginning. He's on Not Cool in High School. My wife just joined the podcast, which is super exciting. Yeah, I could not get her on the mic for the first 3 years. Now she's part of Not Cool in High School. And then we picked up a girl, Bree, who's been a huge addition to the Not Cool in High School and Truth Behind Illusion. So we do a lot of fun stuff, man.
Good. I wanted to be there. So whenever this COVID goes, invite me back.
Absolutely. The door's always open. I love just interacting with people and inviting people in. We're doing fun things. We're reaching out. We're doing a lot more interviews. Bree just interviewed a guy who used to teach at Blue Mountain, who's now writing books about classic horror movies. And he wrote a book with Claude Rains' daughter, and Claude Rains is the original Invisible Man.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like, and then the cool thing is the company who made this shirt, Fright Rags, is doing an entire Invisible Man line. So we're gonna get a the podcast is buying a T-shirt of Claude Rains' The Invisible Man to give to his daughter, because like there's not much Claude Rains merchandise, like newer merchandise. You know what I mean?
Nice. Good for you.
Yeah.
I was the stupid joke I had. If you made a shirt about the Invisible Man, how would you know if you were wearing it?
Yeah. That's the joke. I'm wearing it. It's right here. This is the new version. Yeah.
Dad, hashtag dad jokes.
Yeah, dad jokes never get old. So yeah, with everything's go. So if you are watching or listening to this, if you click the links below, it will take you to Brian's personal page. I just realized I didn't tag the GarageBand page. That's my bad. I will fix that later on. Okay. But you can go.
All right, fine.
The YouTube link is below. Like I said before, it only takes a couple seconds if you click on it and just make an account and hit subscribe. It costs you nothing, but enough people do it. We don't realize as people how much we can affect and change people's lives just by hitting a button. You know what I mean? Obviously, if you stick around and listen to the content and join in, it helps, and being interactive and chatting and stuff, it really, really helps, because every single comment that goes in, it sends an alert to Facebook saying, hey, there's a live stream going on right now on our platform, and it's doing really well. We're going to change the algorithms to make more people see it, because their whole goal is to make you stay on their platform. So if you know the game, use it to your advantage to help people who you think deserve it. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, a guy, there's somebody will watch a video of two people fist fight in the streets and slinging hate and saying how much we hate this and hate that. But when there's positive stuff out there, people scroll right by it. So you have the power to make your social media experience good or bad. If you feed in the negativity, they know that, and they'll feed you more negativity because they know that's what keeps you on their platforms.
Amen, brother.
If you stay with positivity and find more like-minded people and have a good time on this platform, social media can be amazing for you. Take a couple minutes if you have Netflix and go watch The Social Dilemma. It's a documentary on there. It literally breaks down everything I'm saying. Like, you're being used as a pawn in social media. So if you know the tools, use them to your advantage. You know, I know a lot of people I hate Facebook, I'm getting rid of it. Well, if you hate Facebook, it's because you're feeding into the negativity, and Facebook knows that, and they're feeding more to you. So you have to reevaluate what you're consuming, and you can change the system for yourself.
Cha-ching. Well put.
Yeah.
Bravo.
Thank you. So definitely,
what's your Mount Rushmore of Schuylkill County?
Yingling's definitely up there.
Yeah.
I'd put Dick's face right there, number one. Washington.
Okay.
I would put Mrs. T's. I'd put the logo of the Mrs. T's number 2. See, I'm torn, right? I love Kevalonics, but I think Lucky's is a sleeper. You know, Lucky's.
You're not going to change my mind on that. I'm sure, but I know Kovalenics have been so good to Toolshed Jack, so you're not going to.
Kovalonics is the king of kielbasa.
Yeah, I can't even. I know I get in trouble. I can't even go to another place. Like Kovalenics is like my tunnel vision.
I love Kovalonics, but Lucky's is really, really good too.
Okay, I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, it's still a good business and they do great things.
Okay. So
Kovalonics would definitely 2 for Shenandoah, which is a cool thing to say, right? Like Shenandoah get a little love.
Oh, absolutely. You got a 4th.
Oh man, I want to throw Monte City in there. You know what? I'm going to. You know who I'm going to put on my? This is my personal Mount Rushmore, so don't judge me. I'm putting Mickey Holland on my Mount Rushmore.
Really?
Yes.
Now, you're putting him. Now that's not a bad choice. I mean, Mickey Holland is. For those of you that don't know,
personally, that's one of my dream interviews. I would love to have a conversation with Mickey Holland. That's one of my dreams. Yeah. Supposedly my mom's
my ninth grade social studies teacher.
He's amazing. Dude, he made me enjoy history class.
Yeah, Mickey and his I mean, I graduated with his nephew Mike Rhodes, and the whole the Holland and his dad Holland.
I want to say something real quick. I know in Schuylkill County you get that perception of you have the right last name, you're going to go places. And I know like you hear Holland and you hear you hear Rhodes, you're like, oh well, that family's work ethic is uncomparable. The reason why you know those names is because everyone in that family has an insanely talented work ethic.
Yes, I love the Rhodes family. They're all. I went. Like I said, I went to school with Mike and sister Allie and Jim Jr. They're great family. And his mom. Well, actually, Mrs. Rhodes, she was my English teacher. They're just great family, and the rest of his soul, Senator Rhodes, like he was. I mean, he was the dad in the family, but again, just an overall nice guy that he knew. Yeah. I was really impressed when I was a kid. Like, he's a senator, he knows my name. One of those things. But he knew everybody's name in town.
Yeah,
great family.
He was a legend. Mick Holland, if you don't know, he coached high school basketball and he was also a social study and science teacher.
Monte area.
At Monte area. Monte area graduates, if you're lucky, 87 kids?
90, yeah.
Yeah, around there. Every single year he was a coach, he was a state championship contending coach with a kid with a graduating class. Now, when I say graduating class of let's say 80 to 90 kids, not all 90 kids play basketball. You know what I mean? You had to work your ass off.
Were boys.
Yeah,
like you only had about 50 boys.
You had to work from bitty basketball all the way up. He was such a good coach. He made the blueprint of what you learned in bitty, 7th and 8th grade, JV, to then learn his system in high school. I unfortunately never played a second of Monte area basketball, but I understood that process and I respected it. And I absolutely adore that dude. And not only that, like the history, when he would teach history, he'd say, okay, during World War II or during World War I or Vietnam, this is what was happening in the world. But then he would break down and tell you what was happening in your county, in your area.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Great job.
His dad would give physicals to Muhammad Ali during during his comeback championship fights. Like that's unbelievable. Like
he was a legend too. Doc, I mean, to people at that age, Doc Holland was like,
I would put Mickey on my. All
right, that's good for good. That I can't disagree with that.
When I coached, I took a lot of inspiration from him because he was a guy who, when I do this with the podcasting or when I coach or anything, you have to have a good support system around you. And my wife is always willing, and I don't mean this in a negativity, but she understands my passion and my drive, and she's willing to take that back seat to let me do that. A lot of people are very needy and they need that. We have to be around each other. We have to do things. And when you are selfless, that you want to dedicate yourself to making things around you better, whether it be influencing kids' lives or trying to do something as silly as maybe a podcast, but if someone listens to this and gets something positive out of it, that's my goal. And she understands that, and she supports me fully. So maybe on a Valentine's Day when I'm recording a podcast, she understands I'm trying to do something I'm passionate about, and she's not going to hound me for doing it.
Right.
And that's the behind the scenes things of a guy like Mick Holland, where when you're a coach, man, it's not just one season. You're doing that. When you leave a game and the whistle blows, you don't go home and you're still plotting. You're figuring things. I would love to know behind the scenes of what he went through as a coach. You know what I mean?
I honestly think he'd be flattered to be asked. Are you sure you can't get him on? He probably love it.
I kind of put it out there. My mom kind of knew that this has always been a thing for me as well. Like when I started this podcast, I wanted to interview my last grandparent, my grandmother. She's still with us, but I have my grandmother's story. Like even when she's long gone in 10 years and I have the next generation of my family, they can go back and listen to an interview of her telling her whole life story. And I think that's really important. And that's kind of what I want to do with this podcast. Like right before this whole pandemic thing, my mom cornered him in Cocoa Hut and told him, and he's like, I'd 100% do it. And then the pandemic happened, and I was like, I can't do it just yet.
Right. But hold on to that. He would do it. I think he would.
Yeah. And then, and I always, another big thing I want to do is I want to go to like the retirement homes, the high rises, and just like be like, hey, I'm here. Who wants to come sit and talk? Because there's stories you're never going to get back again.
Are you sure you want to do that?
I do, but I don't.
Like I remember back in the 50s when, and you like 95 minutes later, they're still. I would love you wouldn't run short. You wouldn't run short on footage. I'll give you that one.
Yeah, I think that would be an amazing topic. I don't want to say weird when I say, but that's the reason. Like I've been interviewing a lot of like bands and artists and stuff, but the whole idea was to hear people's stories. And that's I want to get back to that once the pandemic's over. Like that was the idea of interviews. I enjoy finding bands and talking to everybody, but it's hard. It's hard for people to get their story out there because we live in a small town community where if you say something that maybe you can get judged for, they want to shy away from it. But I think sometimes your best therapy is getting it off your chest and owning it and just moving on from it, Yeah,
but I think what you're doing with like I love the fact that your podcast is called Interviews with Everyday People.
It should have been Conversations. I messed up.
All right. But what I'm getting at is like for number one, I think everybody has a story to tell. Number two, you enjoy listening to people's stories. And number three, everybody likes to tell their stories.
Yeah.
Like you ask my wife, all I have to do is ask me like, so Brian, how was your day? You got like a 95-minute, monologue right there. So people love to talk. So I think you'll never run short on people.
Yeah,
I don't think.
Never. Yeah,
I mean, that all depends.
Just getting them in their comfort zone is the tough part.
Yeah.
I've had interviews where I'm talking to a person because like when you're here, obviously you don't see what's behind the camera, but there's two big beaming lights. There's usually 2 or 3 cameras facing on you. You see yourself on the screen, and people sit down at the table and they're like, and they hear themselves in their own heads because they're in here and they're like you see them just like for the first 15 minutes of the interview they're shell shocked, and then then it's my job as the person to break them down to let them forget about their environment. And then you see that in the interview when it clicks and then you're like, we're in. Now this is going to be a great interview, You get people like me in bands and so like we're used to the lights. So it's a little bit more of a comfort zone. But I know what you're saying, yeah. No one knows what it's like to be on that stage and looking out because you don't see anything. You see nothing.
You see a big white dot.
Yep.
And you see black all around it. And you could see with your peripheral vision a little bit of the side to side because you're on a stage, but that's it. You just got to trust your instincts and just do what you do. And
you feed off the noise.
That's not the world's worst thing either, because then you can't stare at people like the people that sit there and go, well, this band's not ever. Smitty's a good guy. But then people are like, like the trolls, people like that always hit the dislike button on YouTube, those kind of guys.
I have someone who does that on me.
A troll.
Every single video I post, they thumbs down it. I love it.
I love it so much. Troll. Because my Boilo Polka had one down thumb. I'm like, I always think that's how you've made it because you got your own troll.
I have someone who literally waits till I upload a video and then goes and thumbs down it.
Now, do you think that they're all right? What do you think of that? Do you think it's just a joke for them, or do you think that they honestly hate your stuff?
I don't know. I'm flattered either way.
Yeah. Dude, no such thing as bad press.
Yeah. Listen, I was telling people for a while, I was like, I want every single person to go to my YouTube page and thumbs down all my videos, because then that guy loses his power because everyone's doing it too. the most liked video on YouTube gets publicity, so does the most disliked video. So I'm cool either way.
That's true. As long as you're in the conversation, either way, right?
Yeah, I love it. But yeah, someone will wait till and they do it on YouTube because YouTube gives them that platform to do it, and they could be anonymous. So
I don't. Yeah, and I know I don't even like. You can't. And that kind of led into my. And I didn't even lead into my second song that I wrote.
Yeah, we're getting. That was my next question.
All right. Well, that's kind of a lead into it if you want. But go ahead. You're the interview guy. Ask me. Go ahead.
That was where I was going. So we're gonna get into your Stairway to Heaven. I call it your 13-minute song.
Are you gonna give me the time to at least defend myself?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So okay, let me ask you a question. This is Meteor. Are you ready? Now you got to get in my brain with this. Let's pretend. And again, I take this for what it is, that the Boilo Polka was, let's say it was a sensation. Let's say that it was a smash hit. Now, again, please understand it was like a little shot in the dark, which I didn't even like, we skipped right over that, but we can come back to that another time. But here's my question. All right. So you've written one song in your life, Mr. Anthony, right? One. Mm-hmm. It got you on radio stations without you even asking. And it got you on Newswatch 16 WNEP without really doing much there either. So now within a span of 5 days, you have been like, you've done this thing, which is a total shot in the dark, one hit wonder kind of thing. Let me ask you this. What's the worst thing about that?
If you have a platform using it for good, that's what I would say. When some people get their first, like, all right, so example, someone gets a viral video, right? And their next video is how can we replicate or fake the one we just did before to make that continuation happen?
You're getting there. You're on the right track. Let me focus it for you. The worst thing that happens, again, this all happened to me. This didn't happen to Toolshed Jack. It would happen to Brian Todd. Okay. The worst thing that happened once it went down was you have to ask yourself the question, okay, what's next? And that is the worst possible thought you can have, because you're caught in a catch-22 of epic proportions. And let me tell you why. Number one, let's say I make another polka. Hey, I went to that well and it worked for me the first time, right? All right. So I make another polka. There's only one or two things that can happen with that. Actually, one of three things. Number one, you're now stereotyped as polka guy. You can't do anything else but polkas. Number two, you're being judged against yourself. Oh, that was a nice little second effort, Brian, but we like the Boilo one so much better. So nice try.
Yeah.
And that's hard. Because the first one was such and again, take it for what it is, a smash hit. That then you're like, oh, what do I do next? So I thought about like, well, I can't do another polka. Not that I'm not able to. It's just that I wanted to stop with the stereotype. I didn't want to be typecast.
Yeah. So
because I do a lot of different things. I don't just do polkas. I mean, look at all the other videos I did on that group page. You'll find out I'm not just a polka guy. But then I thought to myself, all right, if I'm going to only make one more song ever, make it for yourself. Because what's going to happen is people aren't going to like it because it's not about Boilo. So you're not going to win, you're not going to win many people over again. They'll probably like, oh, that's cute. And secondly, you can't, you want to make it for yourself. And because when that dies down, then when Toolshed Jack comes back, which by the way, we're going to be playing in March already. Nice. Yeah, it's already sold out. It's at the Tamaqua Community Center. It was the one we were supposed to do in December, but that got canceled and redone. So we're finally going to do that. But anyway, so when that dies, I'm the only person that has to live with my song. Everybody else gets to listen to it, but then they move on. So and this is one thing I would suggest to you too, doing your podcast, do something that you're happy with.
Yeah.
You want to have pop appeal. There's no question. The Boilo Polka had amazing pop appeal for the Northern Schuylkill County, but in the end, your name is attached to it. So I thought to myself, all right, I'm going to do a song that's not going to be funny, but let's do a song that I could be proud of.
Yeah.
And what I said, like, all right, so I can't do polka. And here's what happened, like all the feedback from the Boilo polka. And I had 3 people help me with the polka song. I mean, basically it was me, but I cannot ever downplay the amazing drum talent of Mr. Mike Squeak Mollusky.
Yeah, he was playing on pots and pans. It was impressive.
Mike, now, yeah, he's not the only one, but he's the main drummer in Toolshed Jack. He's with Sapphire. He plays with Josh Squared band. He plays with Eric Kawala's band. So Mike's got a lot of other interests too.
And listen, if when you replace him, because when he can't make a show, you replace him with one of the Collinses, which is not a bad replacement. So when you go to the well to find someone to replace Squeak, you go high. And
you know, and Keith has a sister too.
Yeah, that's why I said both Collinses. Yeah, you're going.
Yeah. So and by the way, for the benefit that we're doing in March, we're going to have both drummers on stage, both Squeak and Keith.
Oh, it's like a rush.
Yeah, we've never tried this before, but they get along so well. Like it's a drummer fraternity kind of thing.
I love that you and Hooligan cross-platform like that and help you, because like I said, there's a lot of really, really good cover bands in the area. But when I think of like the ones with the longevity who've been doing it well, it's Toolshed and Hooligan, and then you have like the Bad Mag, and then Hooligan's been working with Bad Maggie a lot and doing stuff, because I feel like they're the next like cover band coming up in the area who's doing really well. Yeah.
I put Sapphire's website at the end of my Boilo polka video.
Oh yeah, Sapphire's been. I probably go Sapphire then Toolshed. Right.
Whatever.
Yeah. I'm saying in longevity. Sapphire's been doing it a long time, right?
Toolshed started in '97, so I think we're actually around longer than they are. But
really? I thought Sapphire was around like even longer than that.
I don't know when Sapphire started. So you have to
very all very talented. School County is littered with amazing musicians.
Oh, you got to throw another side in there too. I mean, there's a lot of great talent. Like you said, Hooligan,
I used to be obsessed with
Adrenaline, which is where Kerry Collins.
Kerry plays. Yeah, I was obsessed growing up with Rhymes with Orange. Remember them?
Yeah. They were from Frackville.
Yeah, they used to, I don't know any members who were in that band, but I just remember every time that, like, if I seen on like a block party, the Citizens Block Party, Friday night, Rhymes with Orange, I was like, I gotta be there. They played Limp Bizkit and like all the stuff I was into at that time. Like they were
the lead singer guy used to work, I think he moved refrigerators or something like that. I remember
if 3 of the members from Rhymes with Orange walked in the kitchen right now, I wouldn't even know. I'm being honest. Yeah, I don't know, because I was so young. I was. Yeah.
They were good. They were good.
Yeah, I was a fan of their. I still remember the name of their band. I don't know who they are, but I know the name.
But
of their
band. They left.
So if anyone's watching this and you know a member of Rise of Orange, tag them. Tell them we just talked about them. Yeah.
Wait, now you lost my train of thought here. Okay, so now. Okay, so the second song. So I'm thinking, all right, you're not gonna match the popularity of the Boilo polka. So what are you gonna do? Now, with that being said, the people now, Squeak Mollusky, who was invaluable for the Boilo polka, and there's a backstory on how I even got his drum track, all the behind the scenes stuff. If you want to know, let me know. Otherwise, I'm just boring you. But also Max Bolton, who's a young, I think he plays. What's the name of the band now? I keep seeing him on Facebook. I'm sorry, Max. But he. I forget the name too, to be honest. Yeah, I hope somebody types it in. But anyway, so Max played an introductory riff. He's the one in the Boilo polka that does the, like, when the character gets mad and all the colors change,
like the 80s. Yeah.
So Max, I've been keeping my eye on Max. He's got a future. That kid. Keep your eye on Max Bolton. I like him a lot.
He's been on the show a couple times.
Yeah, Max is a good guy. I met him only once, but other than that, like, just kind of keeping an eye on him. He's got a good future. I like him. And a guy who
live in the dream. Thank you, Jen.
Live in the dream. Yes.
Live in the dream.
Yep. So, and then there's a guy who did the actual drum mix. And he's on the credits of my Boilo polka. His name is Josh Tyndall. Now, Josh Tyndall is not from Schuylkill County, but he plays in Squeak's other bands, one of the other bands, the Josh Square band. Now, when the Boilo polka came out, let me put it this way. My self-esteem for music writing is not very good. I never thought I could pull it off, but people it's a great song. It's easy to dance to. It's stuck on I got I can't get that song. It's out of my head. Like the polka was stuck in their head. People would tell me, and that was like, oh, then maybe I know how to write a good song. It's easy to dance to. It's easy.
People get tattooed on their arms.
Yeah, Jen. But but here's what happened. Then I had Josh, who said, yeah, if you need any help with your next song, just give me a buzz. Now I'm thinking to myself, Toolshed Jack has, a certain level, but I will admit the musicianship in Josh Square Band is up here. If this is Toolshed Jack, this is them. Those guys can play. They're very talented musicians. And Josh is like, yeah, I play with Squeak, and thank you very much, and let me know what you need. So I said, all right, I'm going to make a song, and I had the original part, and the song was when he called "Maybe I'm Awesome After All." Now, what I wanted to do is just come up with a song that would help somebody. And to be honest with you, I would love to be known that if I have a failure, second try as a songwriter, at least somebody out there could benefit, and maybe it was a life changer. Maybe somebody was having a bad day, and they heard my song, and it turned it around from them, and breaks it warms my heart. I could have changed somebody's life. I don't want to get that melodramatic about it, but just imagine somebody coming back and saying, what, I heard your song, and it made me think this, and now blah blah blah, and you changed my life. Thank you. Like that you can't put a price tag on.
Yeah.
So I figure if I'm putting out free music,
I'm very fortunate to have that experience. I've had people listen to someone's story on the podcast and turn around and say, they've inspired me to do better. They've inspired me to get clean. They've inspired me to pursue what I want to do. Like that has happened because of my podcast. So I 100% know where you're coming from. And
right.
If 13 people listen to my episode, but one person gets something out of it, that's all that matters.
And that's why it's great to make content, whether it's music or podcasts or whatever it is, just getting stuff out there.
If you throw a rock into a pond, your intention of what you're doing for that rock, if you're there to cause destruction and harm, you're creating a ripple of destruction and harm. If you're there to be positive and uplifting and show love, and that's your ripple you create, it's gonna spread. You're gonna be the lightness in a dark room.
Exactly, and that's where I went with my second song. Like, all right, so I had the title, and then I thought, all right, I have a basic thought in my head about what I want to do, and I've always been a fan of Dixieland jazz. Now in Schuylkill County, you don't get a lot of that.
No,
not gonna lie to that. But I'm always, and that actually comes from when I would go down to Atlantic City with my grandparents. There was a casino down there called the Showboat.
Okay.
And on the pier of Atlantic City, and you'd go in there, and the whole theme was like Louisiana Dixieland jazz, and they'd always have like little bands in there playing with a banjo and a tuba and a trombone and a trumpet and a little trap set, and you just sit there. It was fun music. That's why I chose polka. It's fun, happy music. Dixieland jazz, same thing. So I said this. So now I've got people that want to collaborate with me. Now I didn't have that before. When I was doing my little garage things, it was basically just me. But now I got Squeak, who said, yeah, next time you want to do something, let me know. Okay. And then I got Josh. He's like, yeah, we'll collaborate. That'll be fun. And he's a great guy. So I'm like, all right, what am I going to do? So I came up with the basic sort of thing, and I put in my own little stuff, but I'm not a very good piano player, even though in Toolshed Jack, that's kind of part of my job. I'm a hack. I'm a total hack. I get by, but I don't really have a lot of talent. So I could do trumpet. I own a trombone, so I could do those, but I would still need a clarinet. I would still need drums, and I would need somebody who could really play piano. Now, I will tell you.
Your lead singer, I'm sorry, her name is slipping me.
Juliana Nicole Wardle.
She plays clarinet, right? Or what does she
play? She plays saxophone. Sax, yes. I think it's an alto. So she hasn't done it for years. She's only picked it up within the last year or two, but she's getting better. Yeah. So for my song, so I was like, all right, guys, and I sent out to Rob, who's my clarinet / saxophone player, Squeak, who's my drummer, and this guy Josh. Like, okay, here, see what you can do with this. It's a Dixieland. Well, all right, so I sent it out, and I'm taking my time. I'm still answering all the questions about the Boiler Polka, but in my mind, I'm already moved on to the next project. Like I almost didn't watch the Boiler Polka video for like 3 weeks because I wanted to do this new thing. But the problem was, and you said it was my Stairway to Heaven. My problem was I knew it was going to be my last song pretty much ever, so I got to go out with a bang.
You're not done. Come on, stop it. You're not done. You already have in your head the next 3 projects. You're just afraid to pull the trigger. You're just afraid to pull the trigger is what it comes down to.
We'll talk about that some other time.
You've already answered. We already know the answer. It's coming. It's busting out of you. You just need someone to pull. You just need someone to help you, motivate you to do it.
if you ask me, do I have other ideas? Yes, I've got a couple other
100%
ideas.
you have other ideas. You're a creative human. It ain't over.
Well, we'll save that towards towards later. All right. So now let me tell you what happened. Now Squeak sends me back the drum track, and I'm like, okay, I could use this. Good. I'm trying to fit, and I have this lousy laptop with Audacity as my program, and like I'm so
nothing wrong with Audacity.
No, but I'm so low tech when it comes to like equipment. It's so embarrassing. But then I'm like, all right, I'm putting this together. But then I got the feedback from Josh. Remember the piano player?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm in my room, trying to put all this music together. And he's like, yeah, Brian, here's what I came up with. And he gave me 3 tracks. One said a little bit of fills, which is for those of you who don't know, like, all the little in between notes that you can play. Then a track, some fills, and then one with many fills. Anthony, I'm sitting there in my house. All of a sudden, I'm starting to scream. My son comes in and goes, Dad, what's wrong? I go, ah! He goes, what's wrong, Dad? I go, you would not believe what track I just got from him. If you listen to that song, the piano parts are otherworldly. Like, I just got a guy who voluntarily gave me, I just pulled it up. Like, here you go, you can have it. Like, imagine if all of a sudden you're like starting a band, all of a sudden like Eddie Van Halen goes, yeah, I got this little track here, you can use it, and you listen to like, oh my God, you know what I mean? That was the feeling that I got out of this. Like, and now the pressure's on because this top-notch, remember we talked about the levels, this top-notch guy gave me this music. He's going to expect an amazing product.
Maybe. In his head, he's probably like, I like this guy. I'm going to help him out. I'm going to put some stuff together. In his head, he's probably thinking the same thing. I'm probably not as good. Here's some stuff. I hope he really enjoys it. In your head, you're like, oh my God.
Yeah. Well, and like, again, think of like an Eddie Van Halen thing. Like like Eddie Van Halen gave you music. You now have the pressure to make an amazing song around that. Yeah. To support that amazing, like you're holding a gold mine.
Yeah, well, I appreciate your thought process going into this because once again, I'm trying to dissect something here.
Yeah,
you're not taking for granted people's work going into something you're passionate about. So when you get something and someone's willing to put the same amount of effort that you feel they're putting into your project, you value that. I have the same thing. I have people who make logos for me. I have people who come and join and sit and take time out of their families and to do other shows with me. So when people are just as passionate about something that that for you it's everything, and then someone else joins in and they jump on and take as much pride in it as you do, it's a really, really good feeling in collaboration.
And how do you feel like when somebody gives you like an amazing product, like, wow, this is way better than I thought?
Look at my logos. That's Tori. Like Tori has made some. Tori, Nikolai, Noah from Punk Stereo has sent me, and Alex recently from from High Tension and stuff. Like they've sent me logos, and it's just like they listen to the product and they feel as passionate about it as I do. They're like, this logo represents what I feel your product is. And
but be careful. I don't want you to fall in the same trap I did, because then now, and it's ironic because that's kind of that's kind of the theme of the song. Once you get a product from somebody who you think like went over the top for you, now you have a self-confidence issue that you're not going to live up to your end of that contribution.
Absolutely.
And that's what, so that's what I was going through. I'm like, holy curse word. I got this amazing piano part. And then Mike Squeak Molesky, like he gave me a great little trum things, and he's putting his own little thing. Like Mike is giving me like little things. I want to try this. And then I got my saxophone from Rob Yingling. And so I've got all this stuff. I'm like, I can't fumble this ball. And I gotta somehow, and you're saying about this, I love the fact that you're saying it's Stairway to Heaven. I wanted it to be a story. I wanted it to be not a song, but almost a little mini series. And it ends up
Weird Al
like,
trapped in a drive-through.
Trapped in a drive-through or Albuquerque or anything like that. Yeah, kind of like that. And so I asked Facebook people, I said, look, right now I've got a 9-minute song. Is that okay?
Sure, it's yours. Who cares? If it's 30 minutes, I make 2-hour podcasts. If you're proud of the product you put out, be proud of it.
Well, but you know this, like if your song is like over 4 minutes, people check out like whatever. So
Stairway to Heaven is one of the most popular songs in the world. No one complains.
Yeah, right. But tell me, like, how many people fast forward to just the hard rock part? Like they'll skip past the. I think some people.
Nobody skips through. Nobody skips through Bohemian Rhapsody, and if you do, you're a psycho. You should go.
Okay, I agree with that. But what I was hoping for the second song, the first, I just please make it to the 2-minute mark. Now, if you've heard the song, in its entirety, it's about a guy ready to basically give up.
Yeah.
And when people and let me tell you, that was a daring move, if I must pat myself on the back, because my last song was all about fun and polka and laughs. And what do I go on with the very next thing? Sometimes I get this and life is bad and people hate me and I don't know what to do. And I'm totally setting everybody up for the melody, which is maybe I'm awesome, maybe I'm great. And then it turns into this Dixieland jazz thing. And I could have stopped it there, but then I'm like, what else do I want to do? And then I thought, I got the audacity. Let's throw in a church choir, right? Because that goes back to what I told you earlier. During the pandemic, other entertainers were playing guitars and singing, and what I wanted to do was different. So I've taken the mantle of being different. You tell me one other person in Schuylkill County that's going to make a song that goes into an angelic choir in it.
If anybody, probably Max Bolton, because
Max might be able to, if he could sing. Now, by the way, that choir is all me. That's 5-part harmony with a little bit of reverb in it. And then I thought,
Max tries to find a genre of music that no one listens to, and he's like, "I'll make a song about it."
And that's why you got to watch out. Max, keep an eye on him.
He challenges himself. He's talented.
Mm-hmm. And then I thought, all right, after I do that, let's do a little bit of doo-wop. So this song was starting to get huge.
Yeah. And every time I listen to a song you make, though, I pull. And this isn't. Listen, if someone's listening to this, they're probably like, "That's rude," but to you, it's gonna be like I get Weird Al. Like I just like where he's never afraid to experiment. He says what, even when he's being comedy, he still puts his feelings through what he's saying. It still may be funny, but he says some serious stuff in his songs sometimes. You know what I mean? Like,
hey, by telling me that I'm even in the same sentence as Weird Al Yankovic, you've given me.
You could definitely tell that's one of your influences. Like you could definitely.
I mean, I could do a whole hour just on Weird Al because that's how much I love the guy. I mean, yeah, you're right. It's Al is, and by the way, why he's not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is an absolute travesty.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. We'll set the seed now when the pandemic's over, because the way we do Not Cool in High School now is we don't really talk about what we're playing or doing. That's like a Patreon thing because we started Patreon episodes. We normally pick a topic and then do like the history of or like that. I want you to come and I want you to lead our topic, and we're going to do a Weird Al conversation. We're going to do a whole episode on Weird Al. Yeah.
Where do I begin?
Yep.
So it was October 23rd, 1959, Linwood, California, but I'll save it till then.
Yeah. So if you want to write up something for that Weird Al and let us know and you can even do it on the computer. We'll figure something out.
Oh, if you want me to blabber about anything, I could do 5 hours on Al.
Good. Well, you heard it here first. A future episode of Not Cool in High School will be the history of Weird Al. So if you don't know much about Weird Al, we're going to break them down for you and do it.
I would be honored.
Yeah, it's already said it's happening. It's booked.
So what else do you want to know, Anthony?
What's next? I know you said you're done, but I know you're not.
The reason that I have to put a major pause, one or two things. The reason I did songs out of my garage was because of not playing in Toolshed Jack. Mm-hmm. They're my always number one. You know, Toolshed Jack is. I can't believe I'm still there. I can't believe that people still like it. I can't believe that I get to work with these people. It is. Sometimes they're a pain in my neck, but I'll tell you what, there is an honor and a privilege to be around Steve, Joel, Juliana, Squeak, Keith, anybody else who joins us. So they are my number one. Now, obviously, I get paid to play with them too, so that's nice. You know, whenever I leave and devote all this time to music, Mrs. Brian Todd would like me to have a little bit of a little something to show for. You know, I'm not getting paid for these garage songs, so that's part of it too. And plus, we have our first rehearsal in 4 months next week. We're getting together for the big, to kind of dust off the cobwebs and wipe off the rust. So if you're looking to see when I'm going to write my next original song, I promised myself this, and you could probably appreciate this too. If you can't get better, don't do it. And by that, I mean, I'd have to buy that microphone you're talking into in order to get better. Yeah. I'd have to create videos with a green screen behind me so I could look funny, and just I don't want to do the same old thing over again. Then why even do it? Like, if people are like, hey, Brian, do another polka. I was like, well, you already had the boiler one. We'll do another one. I don't know. Maybe. I mean, I could. And people would like, hey.
Well, that's where collaboration comes in. You find people who are like-minded who want to do your project, and you bring them in on it. So obviously, with COVID, it's hard to do that. But once COVID's over, I can see like the 80s hair metal version where you bring you and Max Bolton in, you throw some tights on, you put some big wigs on, you're in your garage jamming out. I wouldn't do the green screen. I'm just being honest. I would keep your set, your garage, because that's your shtick.
That's the shtick. You're right. It's absolutely the shtick.
I wouldn't overthink it or I would produce it so it sounds better. But when it comes to the look, I'd keep your look. Because that's what makes it fun. You're sitting in, that's the Schuylkill County of it. You're sitting in your garage with your buddy. You know what I mean? Like, I put curtains up, but like at the end of the day, it's like I don't want a green screen. I don't want to look overproduced, because you stay to your roots.
Right. Yeah. I felt bad because not that it was too bad, but the last song, the Maybe I'm Awesome After All, I didn't even want to make a video out of it, because I thought it would be great to think of like as a radio song. So I got people to submit, some thanks and things like that. But the last shot is me in the garage. I figured I got to get a garage shot in there somewhere for the video part of it. So yeah, I went back to the garage. That garage is cold, man. You understand? It's not a heated garage. It's a one-car garage with like all my crap up there. You can see my beach chair hanging on the wall, like, and
pool noodles and stuff are up there.
Yeah, pool noodles, and my son's stormtrooper lunchbox in the background. Like that's my garage.
I think that's what keeps your charm. Yeah, and I thought that was really cool that people interacted. That's the thing. When you make content, it is fun to make it, but when people respond back and say this is what it done for me, like I enjoyed it, and you get that feedback, it's really important. Like, there's been times in this, even doing this, man, I felt like I was like, do I keep doing this? Like, the numbers are there, people are watching, people are engaging, but no one's saying anything to me. Do they hate it? Do they love it? It's like, do I keep doing this?
Doing it.
Yeah, it's tough sometimes. So I understand where you're coming from when you don't. And I'm not saying I need reassurance or I need people to tell me it's good, but like, even if it's not good, say, like, if you're taking your time out to watch it, say, hey, enjoy it or not. And with that being said, we have some people watching. If you have a question, we're getting to the end here. I want to open it up to the guys, everyone in the chat. If you have a question for Brian or myself or anything on the topics we went over, put them in the chat and we'll get them queued up here as we come close to the end. Now, I do understand that you have, when Toolshed Jack comes first, you're taking a pause on your solo stuff to work on the Toolshed Jack. How much of this quarantine and doing your garage music and stuff has bettered you or made you learn new songs, so maybe you can bring to the table for Toolshed Jack, like, hey, I was messing around on the keyboard and I learned how to play this song. Can we add it to our lineup?
There is a song that Toolshed Jack has agreed to learn to play, and the song is called Don't You Spoilo, my recipe for boilo.
So the boilo song is going to become a Toolshed Jack song. That's exciting. I am giddy that this is happening, that the band. Are you singing it? Are you going to nice.
I mean, who else is going to sing it? It's Steve, and see, that's a part of it too, is that in the band too, like, we got to write our own song. Well, Joel always had a song he wanted to write, and we might do that someday. But I actually went out and did it. I actually all right, let's do a song. So the guys are like, this is popular. It's a polka. So they're going next week at rehearsal. We're going to play as a band the Don't You Spoilo, my recipe for boilo polka. Yeah. Oh my God. Like I am like and I'll tell you what I want to do at the rehearsal. I totally want to be this guy. Like, since it's my song and I wrote it and composed it, I want like somebody to play a wrong note, right? And I want to go.
Yeah.
I want to lose my mind just because like I just totally want to rip them just as a joke.
Like Mark Wahlberg and Rockstar. We're a cover band. You play exactly how it's supposed to be played.
I want to see. I want to yell at Steve. It's a B flat, Steve. A B flat. I just want to do something like that, and they'll laugh their heads off because they know.
I have a pitch for you. Not so much a competition to find out who the best is, right? And this is a post-COVID idea. I'm just thinking, and I think we incorporate Toolshed Jack. I think we'll incorporate the podcast, maybe Bangin' Beers podcast, and we incorporate the love of everyone for Boilo. Maybe we get like a hall, like the Citizens, or we get like a nice fire hall. We do a Toolshed Jack performance, but before the Toolshed Jack thing, we have a Boilo share where it's not so much who's the best Boilo, but it's a community where everyone brings their Boilo and we all enjoy it. And it's not so much trying to find out who's the best, but it's just a social gathering based around the School County Boilo. Maybe we'll shoot a podcast and we'll dry a few of them and talk about them on the show. And then after that's done, Toolshed Jack plays a set.
Well, then make it happen, man. I would love to do that. In fact, we that's where kind of the whole idea of the Boilo polka came from, is because of Joel. Joel makes a fantastic in Toolshed Jack. We've had the unofficial Boilo contest for I'd say about 8-9 years. Yeah, and I was always the judge because I didn't make my own batch. I didn't care about it, so I would always be the unofficial judge. And Joel is usually our winner, but Steve made a batch. Our sound man Greg Semenko makes a good batch. Squeak makes a batch. Keith Collins makes a batch. So
Boilo brings people together. It does.
Yeah. So, but the fact I asked Joe because I didn't. Even though I grew up in the Skook, I wasn't around Boilo too much. I would say, Joel, what's in this? And if you have to know Joel would like, he wouldn't tell me. He wouldn't tell me. And I'm like, well, why won't you tell me? He goes, do you like it? I go, yeah, I like it. It's really good. I go, what's in it? He goes, I'm glad you like it.
I had a few episodes of Bangin' Beers where we had Boilo on the show. Yeah, and I had a few people submit their Boilos, and we tried them on the show. And as I was drinking, I was doing like I do now, like in the beer. I take the beer and that has raspberry, tastes like lemon, and I was pulling out what I get. And as I'm doing it, your song is playing in my head, and I'm like, oh, this is a peach Boilo. I taste peach snobs, and then I'm thinking like they're in the chat going, don't you tell anyone what you take.
No, there was a guy that I grew up with in New Boston. He's now deceased. His name is Larry Ellis, and Larry he had his own Boilo recipe. The only thing we ever found out that he used moonshine. And that you're right. So, but he was very nice. My family were not a bunch of alcoholics at all, but he would bring it over like, hey, you want to try my Boilo? And we could never get the recipe. It literally went to his grave. He never told anybody except for the moonshine thing, like what was in his recipe. So that's kind of where that sparked from. Like, don't you spoilo? And don't you love also, Anthony, that I invented an entire word.
Yeah.
Spoilo.
Yeah.
I like nobody ever takes that into account that's not even a word. And yet they just sing it. Don't you spoil? Guys, that's not even a word. So that tickles me pink too. The fact that I just totally invented a word and nobody questions it.
I feel like I know there's one business in the area. I don't know where they stand yet, so I don't want to say too much. But somebody kind of brought something to me, and we had them on the show. But you know how we're getting breweries in the area and distilleries. I don't understand why we don't have like more people trying to open a business in the area that where they make Boilo a year-round thing. You know what I mean?
Boilo's but isn't Boilo just like a winter thing though? It's like a Christmas.
It doesn't have to be.
No, but it's like a hot drink. Like you don't want to be drinking Boilo like 4th of July. It's like you're already sweating outside. Well, I know you would. You would. But like normally people they want cold drinks, so that's why I think it's a great idea, but but then there are.
I know people who drink their Boilo with ice. I know people who drink who they don't drink it hot. They like it cold.
Like kind of like an iced coffee or something like that.
Yeah, like a cold oil Boilo. Or I'm trying to make up a word. I'm not as good as you.
You don't have to be. Hey, but it's they do sell Boilo, by the way. There's somebody out there that sells commercial Boilo. I don't know.
Yeah, those little mixer packs.
Yeah. So
do you have a style of Boilo? Do you like traditional? Are you an apple pie? I know some people we don't like the other the other ones.
No, I can't go too deep into it. I put in. You could probably guess the ingredients that I put in, but I put in it's a whiskey, but I'll just say it's not. It's a flavored whiskey. Like I'm trying something different with mine.
Oh, you don't use the 4?
No. The original recipe that I got said to use the 4, but I'm like, I want it to. I'm a wuss when it comes to drink. Like I like fruity drinks. Like I'll get a cranberry and vodka rather than a beer.
Yeah,
exactly. Right. So I will tell you that there's a liquor store down here, and I'm almost ready to say what it is, but it's a fruity type of whiskey thing. So that's what makes it. But it's only 80 proof, so it's not even, that's why I'm saying I kind of cheat a little bit. It's not like somebody would say, oh, you don't even have the traditional this and that. So I'm kind of weak with the alcohol part. So it's like
I'm an apple pie fan. I like the apple pie boilo.
Yeah.
There's a brewery. There's a brewery in who's this? There's a brewery in Mechanicsburg. They're called Mellow Mink Brewing Company.
Okay.
And they make an apple Weissen or something like that. I forget what it's called, but it literally tastes like you're drinking beer boilo. It's unbelievable.
Really?
Yeah, it's so good. Mellow Mink. Yeah, it's literally right down. It just has like this apple. It's like an apple beer, but when you drink it, it has like the cinnamon, maybe the honey. I don't know, but I drank it and I was like, I know you guys aren't going to know what I'm talking about, but this tastes like boilo to me. And they're like, oh, cool.
Hey, if you can pull it off, good for you.
Yeah. So if you guys are interested, go to Mellow Mink. They're in Mechanicsburg. They're right down the street. Another good brewery, Evergreen. They're right there, but they make this beer that literally tastes like apple pie boilo to me. It's unbelievable.
Plug. Now, if you want to make that happen, that whole thing. Now our event that's happening in Tamaqua, I think we're still doing it with the members of the band making their own boilo. So your idea, we might be trying it out, but I'd be happy to do it again. I know, like
try for like next year when everything hopefully goes back to normal.
Well, I mean, Englewood's right up the road from you. I don't know if you have any pull there. They always do the boilo contests, or something. I mean, listen,
if the people are watching, if you know someone who owns an event or hosts an event, and you want to make a collaborative effort where you want to do a boilo contest, get a really good music for the night, I could probably even get an opening band because I have some friends who will always down to play music. Maybe we could do a Bad Maggie Hooligan Tool Shed Jack night. We do a 3-piece and it's 3 awesome bands. Dude, I love collaborating bands together when they all play together. I know sometimes band takes a hit in their pocket when they do that, but the overall experience of the night is usually always a good time.
Yeah. We did. And Tool Shed Jack's done a few of those over the years. Yeah, it's always great to meet other people. And that's how I met Joe Jordan.
Yeah.
He was guest singing with, and God rest his soul, he just died. But it was because he was guest singing with Another Side in one of our benefits. So like, I love those events. You're right.
Yeah. But we can do that. I know right before the pandemic hit, Bad Maggie got their second or third block party ever booked because they were starting to get booked for block parties now, which is a big deal in the area. They're so happy. Like, it's a good thing. But they got booked for a block party and then somehow got me booked to a live podcast the night they were doing. So I was going to be like, I've never seen a live podcast at a school county block party. I was ready to put that flag up. Like, I did it. Bang. First one. But you know what I mean? So I'm always down to set up my equipment in a location. Like I was the first podcast to do inside the Majestic Theater.
Oh,
like set up the podcast at the Majestic Theater. Like I'm all about like a bar. I've set them up in Stryker's Bar. I've set them up
why don't you? What would stop anybody like the Minersville block party, like the one that always happens in July? What would stop anybody from you just doing a live podcast? Like, hey, here's the members of Tool Shed Jack. Come on over, Joel. We'll talk. Like,
I'm 100% down for it. If they're willing to let me do it, I'll do it. I went out because of when I did a brew fest. I did a podcast at a brew fest. So it's crazy. Like, I know I'm set here for a kitchen, but I went out and bought like a 10-foot canopy tent with walls. So like if a block party's like, hey, do you want to do, like, I can open up the tent and let people see what's going on and we could record a live podcast like anywhere. Like I could literally do it anywhere.
Yeah, I don't think they would turn you down and just ask.
Yeah. I just don't know who to ask yet. So once this pandemic's over, I think the last thing I want to do, and like I said, if you guys have questions, please put them in because we are getting close to the end. But if this pandemic has taught me anything, I definitely used it to better myself. I know like people talk about seasonal depression and it's something that I struggle with personally. This is the first time, shockingly, I've never had seasonal depression in probably like 6-7 years.
Wow.
Only because I went into this pandemic with the mindset, like I didn't lose my job, but I was laid off for almost an entire year. And I went out and had to find a new job because I wanted to do better. Now I suffer from things with my body and I have pain and everything like that. And I worked on myself. I worked on my mental thing. I worked on this podcast, and I use this time to better myself. Like how you're saying, you use this time to learn more things when it came to your music side.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people could have went either way. Some people didn't use this time wisely, and some people used it to reflect and do better things. I know that's personally what I did. Like, I can't wait for this to be over because I have so many ideas that I want to do. And like I said, like setting up like these different locations and trying different things and experiencing and meeting new people. It's just, I can't wait to be let loose, you know?
Totally do it, man. Totally do it.
Telling you, Interviews with Everyday People is going to be a household name in School County soon.
Yes.
I'm going to work for it hard, you know?
Go for it. Nobody's stopping you. Nobody's stopping you.
Well, I mean, there's a global pandemic stopping
you. But nobody is stopping you.
Nobody's stopping me. Don't stop me now, little queen there. But,
there you go.
Yeah, so Toolshed Jack's playing the sold out show. Unfortunately, you guys can't go because it's sold out.
But there might be a online component. I think that's if you could like stream it. I think for a price. You have to keep your eyes open for that. I'm not quite sure the details. Cool. It's like Steve's the guy that usually lets me know about all this stuff.
Awesome. Well, go below as well is the Facebook page for Toolshed Jack. You can go click on that and follow Toolshed Jack. Give them a like and follow along and get all up to date information. It's I hope I'm fingers crossed. Hopefully for the summertime we're good to go, but I it's not looking good. You know, when it comes to who knows, maybe we'll just if they'll let us have block parties, but we'll just wear a mask. You know, who knows?
Yeah, I think right. It depends on the rollout of the vaccine. I mean, like I said, I'm getting my shot soon, and hopefully it's a game changer. Let's cross our fingers and pray a little bit.
You have all those nanobots in you now, so they can control you like a robot. Isn't that the?
Oh, right. I love when I hear that because like I'm not that important. Like if the government wants to see me get up from my couch from watching Netflix to go get a snack, okay. I'm not that important. I don't know why they want to track me.
The next Boilo song is gonna be all about
there you go.
World domination and and the government's using Brian Todd as a pinky in the brain.
I'll put Illuminati messages in between each verse.
Oh, you should do the reverse thing where you say like, I put my ding down, flip it, and reverse it, and then reverse it. You ever shipped a different plan yet?
If you're listening to this, you have way too much time on your hands.
Yeah, like Hail Satan, like the Led Zeppelin. That needs to be the next Boilo song. You need to find a way to reverse your.
All right, well, let me ask you this: do I make another polka or do I make another Boilo song? Because you can't make another Boilo polka song.
I say 80s hair metal.
About Boilo?
No, anything. Just make a hair metal song on Miller's Hot Bologna.
Either.
Make a Kilbasi song. Make a Kilbasi song.
I got a nice message from the Kovalenics thanking me for being in their video. They're great. Hey, thanks for the promo. Oh yeah, they're fantastic.
My wife for Valentine's Day, she's like, I got you something. She came home from work and she had a little box with hearts on it, and I go, what is that? And I open it, and it was all filled with different Kovalenics Kilbasi, like sticks and jerkies, and I was like, I love you so much.
I had people that I'm looking at people that knew me from outside of Schuylkill County. They saw the video and like, what's Kilbasi? I'm like, oh God, I gotta explain everything to you people.
Yeah. Why don't you go for the Jen's saying another polka, but what about a song parody? You know, the Weird Al. I mean, really lean into your Weird Al. Do a parody. There's so many songs out there that there's so many TikTok songs. Kill It's a little body yada yada
yada. Don't be bossy. I'm making Michael bossy. Parody is tough though because there's only two types of parody. Weird Al does it right. The other people that do parodies, they're just insulting the person who made the original song. Like if you do a parody of Lady Gaga, either it's got to be about something completely different, or you're just picking on Lady Gaga. So it's tough to tread. Plus, if you don't watch it, you can get in trouble too because you're not paying for the music.
Yeah.
So that's another thing. Yeah, like when I wrote both songs, like I don't know if you know, I registered both of my songs with the National Registry for Music Writers. Like nobody, if somebody were to steal my song, I could sue them.
Yeah, you can steal this podcast. I didn't do any of that yet. So if all 5 of those names are out there.
No, and by the way, I have to give a shout out to Keith Collins' dad, Eddie Collins. He's the one.
He's a genius.
Oh my God! And he texted me. He said privately, goes, he, of course I know him, and it's not difficult to know who he is.
Have you ever done the vinyl vault?
Yeah, I've never been there, but I mean, I've seen the pictures. Yeah,
I did a video. You can go on interviews. His thing.
I think I saw a little bit of that, and I think Max Bolton was in there too. I think.
Yeah.
Looking around.
Experience.
Yeah, and Eddie said, he told me some very wise information. He goes, be careful. What would happen if somebody took your song, the Boilo song, and they totally stole it, and then they sue me saying that I stole their song?
Well, I mean, the way you get around that. So say if someone stole interviews at Everyday People or banging beers, you can look on YouTube because you left your imprint, and they say, I uploaded my video in 2019, right, and I uploaded mine in 2017. I think technically, even if they try to register it, they'll be like, well, he had domain. He actually created it in this time. So you have a little...
But I think the name of the organization is BMI, and they not Body Mass Index, but BMI. I have a lot of that. I think they actually use lawyers and go to court, and whatever they win, they take a portion for themselves. So like you will not only have like their backing, you also have their representation and their people to do it for you. So
let's end with a lightning round here. We're gonna do Schuylkill County, right? Now we're not trying to offend people, right? But this is just
I can do this.
The Schuylkill version of lightning round. All right, you're going to a bar this weekend. You have three. Who are your top 3 bars you're going to?
I'm going to the Red Zone in Monty City.
Nice.
I'm going
to thoughts and prayers out to Bobby. He's going through a lot, the owner. So hopefully Bobby comes through. He's looking for a donor soon. A lot of things happening there. I love Bobby to death. He's like family. He's a good guy. Yeah.
Other bar. I really see. I'm going to give a lot of answers of bars that Toolshed Jack plays.
Yeah.
So obviously, like,
that's a question coming up. So just let you know.
All right, like the wooden keg. Remember those? Like the brass tap. But unfortunately, some of those bars aren't around anymore. So yeah.
I'm gonna go. I'm going
Thunder
McNiff's.
Road.
Thunder Road.
Oh, McNiff's.
I'm going McNiff's in Monty City.
McNiff's. Yep.
I'm going. I don't know why I'm doing this. I would have said the Greystone in Pottsville, but that's not a bar anymore.
But that was a great place.
Hugglebucks is a good. That's a
right next to the brass tap.
Music bar. Yep. And then my third bar, I'm gonna go Jimmy O's Frackville.
Jimmy O's. By the way,
Jimmy O's / Black Diamond. I like both those bars a lot.
Well, because of the wings.
Compass Rose is really good too. Frackville is an awesome place for bars. It's just and Maz's. Oh my God, sorry, there's so many. Yeah.
You remember? Toolshed Jack has played Club Paparazzi back in the day.
Holy crap.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
All right.
So lightning round.
Favorite venues to play in for Toolshed Jack.
Oh God. Because it's going to be a snobby answer. Casinos.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Are you staying local or
anyway,
can I go? Casinos are awesome. I love the Minersville Block Party since we were talking about it. I love big stages. Like you give me a big stage to go and play around and jump off things.
Englewood's a good time.
They will always tell me I was the one person. I almost got arrested at that block party.
Really?
Because I climbed up on the roof.
Oh, and the cops stand right there.
Yeah, I got up on the roof. Now, understand at the Englewood Block Party, when you're up on the roof of the stage, you are now over 25 to 30 feet from the ground. And I would say I got arrested, but they were looking at me like up there. I'm like, hi guys. So I said, and I gave them a look like, I'll be right down. Just let me do my thing. Other venues in Schuylkill County, I used to love Thunder Road before it unfortunately burned down and all that. You know the history there. What else in the Schuylkill would be a great venue? Goodfellas is good.
Yeah, I wish they fixed it up a little bit, man. You look at the ceiling, there's fucking black mold everywhere.
Oh, I know, and I mean water problems and stuff like that. But it's a good venue.
Yeah.
Let me think what else. We used to play at Amigos on the way to Minersville was a great place to play. There's I could probably, and I'll tell you, when I leave you, I'll probably have like 5 more that I'll say, I forgot that place. People will let me know.
These are all on the spot, so don't take offended.
Go ahead. I'm ready. I love lightning round, by the way.
Yeah.
Give me.
If your favorite wasn't said, don't take offended. This is all off top of the head. He has no prep to this. Favorite block parties, school county block parties.
Minersville. We did Port Carbon a couple times. It's pretty good. There's one in McAdoo that's kind of neat, believe it or not.
You know who my sleeper block party is?
Go ahead.
Delano.
The fact that Delano
first sleeper.
You know what makes that place fun is the playground. And you know, Toolshed Jack loves to just go out. Like, we never stay on stage. We're just always traveling. Delano's a good one. I'll give you that's a sleeper. In Tamaqua, remember the Hosey? That was a good one too. Toolshed Jack did that a couple times.
That's where I was supposed to podcast.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. The Hosey was good. And let me think of one more. I'll think of it later. You got me.
You're going for wings in school county.
Black Diamond.
No second or third place.
I don't think I've ever. No, not in school. If I were to go for wings, I'd go right to Fractal. I wouldn't even think twice.
Black Diamond. Yeah. I would say second place for me would either be McNiff's or Red Zone.
McNiff's is good. Yeah, they're okay. I will give you that. There used to be a place in Monty City. Do you remember Mother's Pub?
No, but you know who has great chicken that's not wings? Monty City, Ruts Chicken.
You got to get the pizza while you're there. You can't go to Ruts without getting the pizza.
I like the chicken.
Well, they used to have a place. See, this is where our age different. They used to have a place called Gutsy's down on Center Street. You remember Gutsy's?
Remember
great
Fowler's?
Pizza.
Fowler's had great food.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They used to have the fifth quarter.
Yeah. Well, Fowler's pretty much turned into now the Citizens have their own public open to the For me growing up, my father being a firefighter, the Citizens was private. Like, no one was allowed in there. That was just for members only. And now it's open to the public. It's a cool experience.
I met my wife at the Citizens.
Really?
It was 2000, and we were doing a St. Patrick's Day gig, and I had found her online. She was from Tamaqua, and I said, "Hey, no, it was, you ready for this? Yahoo Messenger."
Whoa.
Yeah, and it was totally by accident. You would put up a profile like, "Yeah, I'm from Monty City. I'm a teacher," and she's from Tamaqua as a teacher. So we got to talk on the phone. I said, "Look, if we're going to meet, I'm in a band. They're called Toolshed Jack, and like, so just so she didn't think I was a creep, I wanted her to meet me in a public spot." Yeah. So I said, like you show up, and I'll be the guy playing keyboard. So there I am with this wife beater with a.
Did you try to cool it up a little bit? Like, you know, she's going to be there, so you kind of try to cool it up a little bit.
The whole time I was looking at the door to see, like, I kind of knew what she looked like, because like the whole time I'm playing, I'm like.
You're like playing extra hard. You're like, yeah. No, but I had like a Notre Dame tie. I had Joel's Notre Dame green tie. I remember St. Patrick's Day, and I had this green Hawaiian shirt on with a wife beater. Oh, it was terrible. But that's how I knew she was the one, though. She decided to still stick around. Nice. Let's go to that. TV shows you're watching right now. What are your top TV shows right now?
I am in the middle of, I promised Joel, because now that I get HBO Max, I'm watching from season 1 Curb Your Enthusiasm from the very beginning. Joel's
Curb Your Enthusiasm. So I'm that guy now. I'm pushing my glasses up. Curb Your Enthusiasm got a guy out of life in prison and possibly death row.
Because was that the baseball episode or something like that? Yeah. I saw that. That was
a guy was framed for murder. And he was Hispanic, and he had no representation, and they pretty much were pinning this murder on him. And the reason he got out of murder is because they found he went to a baseball game with his daughter, and they're like, "No, you didn't. You have no proof of it." And he was caught on camera on a Curb Your Enthusiasm episode and got out of jail because he had an alibi.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's awesome. Oh,
makes you really trust our justice system, right?
Now, to really answer your question of what show I'm watching right now, without question, WandaVision. In my house, Marvel and Star Wars is everything. So WandaVision is
at HBO Max. You're getting Justice League Snyder cut soon.
I don't know. I mean, I didn't like the original. I don't know if I'm gonna like. I didn't like Justice League too much.
Well, Justice League, the movie that we got was not the one we're supposed to get.
Right. That was
the one we're seeing
but,
now is
that was the Joss Whedon version, right?
Yeah, Josh Whedon.
Yeah.
Pretty much Zack Snyder's daughter passed away, and they used that as a reason to fire him and steal his movie from him.
No.
So this is the movie we were supposed to get, and then we're getting King Kong versus Godzilla. We're getting Mortal Kombat on HBO.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, the movies are not dying by any means, even during COVID.
Yeah, I love the fact that we can watch them from our house and not go to a
Well, I want to
theater.
see I can't wait till Black Widow comes out. I'm waiting on this. They've already postponed it for a year.
Yeah. WandaVision's awesome.
WandaVision's great. Oh.
Are you a documentary guy? Do you like Netflix documentaries?
Yes.
Did you watch the Cecil Hotel?
What's that?
The Cecil Hotel is a hotel in California where the girl was found missing, and then they found her in the water tank. But they try to say like they're trying to uncover. Like it's a really cool documentary on thing. And then I watched that, and then Night Stalker. Remember the guy who was going around?
Yeah.
There's a really interesting documentary on him right now on Netflix.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wasn't it Cecil? What'd you say?
The Cecil Hotel.
All right. It's on my list.
Remember that there was a video way back in the day where a girl was in an elevator and she was like, looked like she was talking to herself, and then they're like, we can't find her, and there was like a whole investigation to find this girl that was missing
in California.
Yeah.
No,
the hotel is actually surrounded by Skid Row.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Nice. Is that on your list?
Yeah, we're actually covering. I already watched it. We're actually covering her story on Truth Behind Illusion next episode. Yeah.
There you go. Good.
Yeah.
Good conspiracy.
Yeah. Well, I don't think it's really conspiracy. I just think it's a girl that had some issues that went to a bad area and got taken advantage of, and possibly. Yeah. Let's go here. All right, we'll go food. Food.
I have to turn a light on because I'm sitting in the dark. Give me a second.
Go ahead.
There we go.
I just say, notice all.
All right, now I'm back.
Notice all the beautiful stuffed animals in the background.
Yeah, all the squishmallows. I'm in my daughter's room here.
School county foods.
Kielbasa.
Number one.
Bellini's.
I'm not a Bellini guy.
You're not?
No.
You get a good block party Bellini with either sour cream or ketchup. You're in heaven, and a little bit of salt too.
Not for me. Too greasy. I don't like them. No.
Now I'm going to tell you a little bit of trivia. You ready for this? Miller's hot bologna. Guess that lady who's Miller? Her maiden name is Legutko. My family, my dad's third cousin was Legutko's hot bologna 55 years ago.
I love Miller's hot bologna.
I tell everybody.
Miller's hot toothpicks. Remember those? The spicy toothpicks? Yeah, they have
toothpicks?
they sell toothpicks, but they're spicy.
I thought you were going to tell me like potato chips or something like that.
No, I used to get them at here's a blast. Genie's Video in Monty City. Before school, you get a bunch
was that on Center Street?
Center Street. It's right across from the caddy corner from the Citizens. We used to get the Miller's. If anyone in the chat knows about this, Miller's toothpicks. I don't know if they still exist, but they made cinnamon toothpicks, and we used to put a cinnamon toothpick in our mouth all in middle school, and then we walk up 875 steps to get to our school. And
I 63.
Yeah,
I counted them.
It felt like 800 because if you're
I know, right?
Throughout the day's the course of a school day, you walk
right.
Some steps.
By the way, you're helping me. You're helping me get my skook cred back by doing all this. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I love Monty City. I don't go as much as I should, but I go through the town. I'm like, man, this is my stomping grounds.
But when I was doing the Boilo Polka, I think about here's a question for you. What northern Schuylkill County town is the funniest? It's not Monty City. Oh, come on, it's easy. Which of the northern Schuylkill, which has the most comedy potential?
So when it comes comedy as in how am I offending?
It was in the video. Come on.
I mean, Shenandoah or Girardville are always.
Shenandoah. Oh no, that's not even a contest. Shenandoah is easily the most quintessential Schuylkill County.
You never hung out in Girardville.
Girardville and Gilberton and Ashland. They're nice.
Girardville's a hoot. Girardville's in its own universe. I don't even know how that.
To me, if you're going to put a George Washington on the Mount Rushmore of Schuylkill County boroughs, it's Shenandoah.
Yeah,
Shenandoah.
I'm originally a Shenandoah kid. I was born in I was born and raised in Shenandoah, and then I moved to Monty City.
You were born in the satellite?
Yeah. I was what they called, I don't know if this is politically correct anymore, but I was a Zulu. Remember they called us, if you were from Shenandoah,
don't even get me started because Steve, our bass player, that Zulu stuff happened when I was in high school.
What is that even from?
What's that?
What did that even come from?
Okay.
It probably has terrible backstory.
No, Zulu is a tribe in Africa. And for some reason, now this one, I have no idea. The Shenandoah people, they, for whatever reason, and that's when they have to find out, they adopted the word Zulu. We're the Zulus, okay? And now, of course, over in Montana City, we're like, okay. But to this day, Steve, in Toolshed Jack, Steve-O, who's quintessential Shendo guy, he goes, yeah, you guys in Montana City, you're the Zulus. I said, no, Steve, you're the guys that in Shenandoah adopted that term. No, you guys are the Zulus. He would say, like, Steve.
He said Montana Cities were Zulus?
Yeah. I'm like, Steve, you are the guys that called yourselves the Zulus. Like, yeah, the Montana City people, a bunch of Zulus. Like, you're the guys that called yourselves like that. It added to. Guys,
I love it. This is turning super skook. I love it.
Yeah, I know. This is high level skook here. That's all right.
I had a few of my old teachers that were in your last video, holding up signs, and some people. It's a lot of Montana City people in that video.
Who?
Is she Brumel? Wasn't Miss Brumel was in there? I had to go back and rewatch. I think so. I thought
I had Anne Marie Calabrese, who's a DJ at WMGH, was in it. I had
I don't know if she's McElhenney anymore. Marie McElhenney was holding up.
Marie was in there. Yep. And her, I had, and Jen Myers is in it. Guy I grew up with,
and everything. She's all over the place. She's a super supporter. There's no one in the area much more supportive of anybody than Jen Myers. I love her.
Jen Myers has 2 tattoos on her that are connected to me.
Yeah. Yeah, she told me she wants to get one for the podcast, and I was like, you can get some. Like,
yeah. Well, she showed me her Toolshed Jack one. I'm like, okay, you know that doesn't come off, right?
Yeah, that's there. That's there for you're on someone's body forever.
I'm on, and for 2 reasons. She has a hash. Did you see the hashtag?
The hashtag "Don't spoil my recipe for boilo." There's no one dedicated. There's no one more dedicated than her.
Jen, she's great. We like Jen a lot.
Yeah, I love her to death. I'm actually drinking 2 of her beers that were,
Well, I gave her a little sample of my boilo. She goes, I want to taste what this is. So I got her and her husband Alex a little bit.
Yeah, they're a great family. They were actually 2 episodes ago interviews everyday people. They went through a lot of trials and tribulations.
I saw that
with their son.
I was commenting during that. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you guys want to check out the back episode.
Yep. And we actually played her sister's 40th birthday. Toolshed Jack in her backyard. She hired us for a private party, so we were at her place and everything.
They're good people. Good family. Well, let's wrap it up here. Anything you want to plug or get out there or put over?
Other than stay tuned. I don't have any plans on writing any new songs, no matter what Anthony Blackwell Jr. is implying.
It'll happen.
But Toolshed Jack, we are in now. We feel that we're kind of coming out of the vaccine, out of the pandemic. So we have a rehearsal next week. We're going to get a lot of fun doing that, just to get the rust off. And then March 6th, it's sold out, and it will be, masks and socially distanced still. We have to comply with all the regulations and so forth. But that's at the Tamaka Community Arts Center. Then I think we're actually starting to get some employment for the late spring and early June. So we got weddings and things like that. If you're a wedding, one of the things we've added, Anthony, is we're now ready to do. We have a horn section for our band. So I switch from trumpet to trombone. I have a brother who's an outstanding trumpet player, Rob. He would play trumpet, and then we have the guy that we use every now and then, Pat the sax man. So I've arranged 3-part horns for about 12 songs that now Toolshed Jack has an option of bringing weddings a horn section.
Nice.
That's exciting, man. I did that last summer. I found some songs that we do, and I'm the only person in Toolshed Jack that could read music, to be honest with you. The other guys read it's tabulation or whatever the guitar players use,
and dirty magazines.
Yeah, dirty magazines. So I'm the guy they go to. So I arrange 3-part horn harmonies for trumpet, trombone, and saxophone. So that's a big thing. We've got 2 weddings booked. We got one in June and one in Ringtown in September with the horn section. So that's another option for Toolshed Jack winning if people want it. So that's a big deal for us.
Yeah. The only thing I have is just check out the network. Check the links below. Interviews Everyday People. If you want to listen to the audio only of this podcast, we are now available on iTunes. A 5-star review goes a long way. Word of mouth is what is going to help this grow. If you liked what you heard today, check out previous episodes. Check out the future. I do have a young man from Monty City. We're going back-to-back Monty City people, or how Shannon will call us the Zulus, which is ridiculous.
Don't
That'll be on March 13th. We're having Matt Yetsena. He goes by Yeti. He's a up-and-coming rapper in the area. He already has a couple songs out. He's making some waves for himself. He's going to be March 13th. So back-to-back. And then I have Catherine Monahan, who was a previous on the she's a retired military. She helped with fire departments in Pottsville. She was part of the Democratic Party for a while there. She ran for office. Unfortunately, it didn't go her way, but she's a really cool person. She's coming back to do an episode. So we're doing 2 per month now. So two in March. There are 2 episodes. We have t-shirts. You can buy t-shirts, stickers, hats. The merch links are below. It helps us grow, helps us get cool equipment. We also have a Patreon. If you want to support, it's $1. You get a shout out. It's $5 for a shout out and bonus content. So real quick, while I have it open, the Patreon shout outs. Brad Zalonis, thank you so much for your $5 donations. The PA Pile Driver podcast. It only shows me the last 30 days, so I'm going to try to go off memory. I have Jay, Austin, I have Jen Myers, and I have Hyrith in Other Words podcast, all supporting us at that $5 donation. So thank you guys so much for the love and support. If you do buy merchandise, take a picture with you in it, and we want to put you guys up and show you guys love. That's all I got. Like I said, we have a lot of cool stuff on the network. You can check out interviews, Banging Beers, Not Cool in High School podcast, Tornado Tag podcast, which we're going to be watching some wrestling this weekend. And there's probably something else. What does $100 get you? Jen, we have to talk about that in private. You know, if you're going to do that, I probably have to throw you something. I got to throw you something a little personal. I have to start selling my underwear to Jen or something. That's crazy. So we're going to let you guys go. Here is
Wait,
our
hold
outro.
on, Anthony.
Go ahead.
For you, sir.
Yes.
100 interviews for the Interviews or Everyday People podcast. I think that is a milestone, sir, and you should not take that lightly.
Most podcasts end at 7 episodes, so I'm
right. So I think that from all the people that appreciate your work, all the people that are on my end that have been the interviewee for the interviewer, I think you should pat yourself on the back, sir. That's a great milestone, and we hope that. And if you make it to 200, I want you to book me. I want to be the hundreds guy.
All right, you could be the 200th episode. So if I'm going to work to get there to book you again to do it. I promise.
Every 100. When you get to 900, I'll be there too.
All right, I appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. If it's your first time, thank you for hanging out. We hope to have you back again soon. We have a lot of cool stuff here. Make sure like, share, subscribe. It goes a long way. We talked about how much it can influence somebody. So help us out. We're going to close out with a local music artist. Here's Steve Fulton in his song Apologies.
Sorry for being so sorry all of the time. So sorry for being sorry all of the time. So sick and tired of sorries all the time. So sorry for being sorry all of the time. But I can't never drink it again. Apologies to everyone I've seen overwhelmed.